to the Astra,
Yes.
which to me is a little odd because I feel like they play very similarly in how they control maps. You know, you have the wall, you have the smoke. Now, obviously, you don't have gravity well, or I think the other one is the pulse one, the stun, the disabled. You know, it is a little bit interesting, and we'll see how that plays out. But we do have the Sky in play for Sabrosa, and Sabrosa's been playing Flash Agents for a long time, so curious to see how he's going to work that incredibly irritating Hawk Flash that we've all come to love in our ranked matches.
Well, on the attacker side, it seems as though TSM are just looking to get some pressure here on the B side to start. All 5 players are there, and you're right, Mark, there's been a small change. Rossi used to be that Astra player, now pulling out Viper. Viper and Astra together could be very deadly, but I find that the composition you have for TSM is still pretty good to try to work against that, and that's Wardell with first blood at the switch.
Wardell right around the corner, taken down through the smoke. And there's that Hawk coming out, the guiding light to keep them at bay while they guarantee the spike plant. It will be a 4-on-3. There's a little bit of venom on the ground that's preventing Rossi from moving up. That's actually Rossi's own venom on the ground, mind you. Recon Dart gets taken out, but look at how they set this one up. They've basically eliminated that other door. I love the setup with that Viper venom on the ground, but it's not really working out so well as Sabrosa pops off with 2 kills. It was Sabrosa who got into the site using the dog to lead in, and then just every flash on Earth flying through into the site. And it'll be TSM who pick up the pistol.
Still very done there for TSM to adapt right on a pulse plan because they have to play against an Astra. But knowing that Astra has already fallen down, they don't have to worry about a gravity well that's going to be thrown all the way towards the back of the site. So have all 4 players play in the back and see what happens, go for the trades, and you still have 4 players very good on paper in terms of how much firepower they can bring. It's a very clean pulse plan for the attacker side for TSM to start. Second round, though, you see there's an early pressure happening towards mid side, and that Recon Dart just pinged 2, at least maybe even 3. A wall bang from a Marshall, a peek from Cat, and it's Wardell again with the first blood.
Wardell hitting shot after shot here on the Marshall, trying to spam through. In the meantime, though, the Bros has actually waltzed out onto the A site, or B site, excuse me. And again, it was the same thing. Sabrosa leads in with the guiding light, and then follows up with the dog to just charge in, and then another guiding light to make sure it's safe, and then just kind of walks out onto the site. Makes it look super easy. And they were so focused on everything that was happening in mid, no one was even playing towards B. But if someone had been there, Sabrosa could have still potentially found an opening.
This is where I'm going to find things a little bit, my question mark going into this matchup on TSM on the attack, because when they faced off against Immortals, Immortals did a very good job punishing individual plays. So if they want to work off Wardell that's going to be offing, marshalling, he's usually going to play that solo. And then you have somebody like Sabrosa, he's going to try to activate first, but sometimes also lurking as the Sky and using the flashes for himself. So if he also gets punished on the plays versus Immortals, then it makes it a lot more difficult for the rest of the players. Only 3 more remaining on paper, in the roster to try to execute. That's where it gets tough. So I want to see more of TSM. The question mark is, have they adapted a little bit more to work a little bit more as a group on these executions? And so far, it's been the case. You see Cutler working together with Drone on the A side. You have Hayes and Sabrosa towards the B side, and that Marshall's still on mid. So a nice default just to try to get the Immortals rotating left and right and waste that utility. So you see that already coming up on B side. 1 star less to go, and let's see where TSM hits it.
Yet again, Sabrosa sends in the Trailblazer, but the game imitates life as the Tasmanian Tiger is taken out and extinct IRL, sadly. Now, he got spotted on the other side of the Viper wall over in B main. JC Stani, though, gets dinked on the initial peek from Drone and can't get the recoil under control after that. Tries to pull down, but the rifle just gets away from him. Good timing on the peek from Rossi. And I like this as well, activating the Venomous Orb over on short to make it a little bit easier.
10 seconds.
Now, Wardell has to be careful, but like you said, 10 seconds, they've got to get out and try and get the spike secured. Wardell's popped the ult, denies to come out, but there's, they barely get the backup there in time. And they do get the spike down, but it's all going to come down to Wardell. Wardell's got to time this one nicely. You mentioned the flank, and Sabrosa does chime in finally. And again, Wardell has the knives out, but it's a rifle versus those knives, it's not going to matter. Wardell gets there just in the nick of time, catches Chemicals going for a reload, trying to peek from upper. It's 3-0 to start things off here for TSM as they get their pick on Ascent, and they're just going to do what they do best on the map. That was actually one of the things that kind of surprised me. I thought we would see Ascent banned. I wasn't certain that we would go to this map. That was the one that I was questioning, was whether or not Immortals would ban Split or Ascent. And I thought, honestly, we would see them ban Ascent just because TSM plays Ascent a lot, and they always have.
One thing I did really like, though, at least from TSM and from Wardell versus Gen G, the matchup that helped them qualify into this game where they beat Gen G on this map too, very convincingly, is when Wardell also has the knives. So he's not playing further back. I like how he's also rifling right now. Yes, it is against an eco. Some decent trades at least, though, but still, the player advantage goes for TSM. But what I was trying to say is, with Wardell pushing very aggressively and creating space right now with the knives, has been a thorn on the side of Gen G. And on that previous round was the thorn on the side of Immortals. And the great lurk continues on from Sombrosa on that previous round, that now Immortals, there's potential going into the later rounds where they can't really stack on sites, and they always have to split out because they have to be wary of all these splits happening.
There's the final kill coming through. Drone got a 4K on the round. I love, too, as they were taking the site, Cutler thought he picked up the bomb. He went to default spot and tried to plant. It took him a second to realize what was going on. Drone, 8-1 performance coming out from Drone. It's a player who we really haven't been able to speak too much about in 2021, just as TSM has not managed to get to this point enough. We haven't seen a lot of TSM in 2021. In fact, when you look, it's basically just open qualifiers, which, I mean, that's obviously all there's been. It's been VCT all year long. So Drone will have the ult online. Sombrosa has the Seekers available as well. Rossi has Viper's Pit, so there's the ability to shut down a section of the map if they were to choose to do so. They do have a full buy coming in, so it wouldn't be the worst round to do that. There's the Seekers coming out to give away positions. Ace is going to go for the peek. There's backup from Wardell. Look at the molly damage coming out as Chemicals makes it look easy getting the double. Wardell is there with the follow-up. Shot-up's trying to do what he can over in B, but Sombrosa on the other side of the door can't escape before Rossi comes in with the peek. It is down to a 2-on-2, but it's a scary 2-on-2 because Wardell has the op in hand. And on the other side, you've got JC Stanley, a player that we haven't seen up too much in the past, but you kind of have to.
It's 2v1 on site, though, so they are going to be able to get into the site here and get a plant. Drone's going to be in position. He's going to be hurt at the same time, though, so very dangerous on a pulse plant where the advantage could come back for Immortals.
He's waiting for the recon dart. Now he's got it, and that does give away the position. So you got one pulse. Recon dart will result in some shock darts flying out, and it's actually going to deal great damage to JC Stanley, who's down to 45 HP now. Swaps off the op over to a rifle. Some stars going down to try to gain access to the site. It's going to probably be a gravity well towards the back corner, and it is. Smoke coming out on the door from the Jet. They're trying to escape from Garden, but they haven't been able to get out just yet. Now the smoke fades, but it's going to come down to a 1v1. It's Rossi who's low on HP against Wardell,
I love it.
who knows he has to go to the sidearm. There's the smokes coming out. The fly through with the classic. Got a little scary there as a couple shots came out from the classic. Is he going to be able to get away from this explosion? No. So the op will not come into the next round unless they decide to purchase it. Wardell does have the knives available, but decides to go for the buy anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you've won 5 rounds in a row there for TSM, and I just love that 2 versus 2, even that 2 versus 1, knowing that both players are at Hell's side, and Wardell dashes on the other end just to have the off angle against his opponent and waste on the clock in case he was getting chased down, just to make sure that the time is of the essence, and time is going to be favorable for TSM on the pulse plant should he die. But he saves the round here for TSM, makes things very difficult for Immortals. They're on a broken by 2 Spectres and 3 Phantoms. As you see in this picture-in-picture, an early Viper's Pit towards the A side from Rossi so they could focus. Look at the amount of stars on Catwalk, on mid, on B side. I mean, we don't know who's, but it's still going to be TSM taking the upper hand, pushing and gaining control of Pizza, but it's funneling towards this stack.
Look at all the stars and utility all over the map. There's so much between both Killjoys and Viper and Astra, there's just a ton laid out across the minimap at any given point. Yet again, you've got that one-way orb on short, and you've got the ult used as well. So Viper's Pit has been utilized on A, but it doesn't seem to be scaring them too much. They seem content to continue in this direction. There's still the possibility of another smoke as a star gets dropped on short. Timing will be of the essence, and there's the pull through.
Huge.
But it's just easy peasy for Rossi on the other side, still inside the ult over on A.
Get out of my way.
It's down to a 3-on-5. Numbers very much in favor of Immortals, who are looking to win their first round. Wardell finally used the knives, but it's a little bit too late. We're down to a very low end on clock, and it was questionable at that. A flawless round victory coming in from Immortals. With 14 seconds left, Wardell decided to use the ult over in Garden. I mean, it was a 2-on-5 at that point.
Yeah, but I think the better part here for Rossi is really leveraging his utility, right? Because for me, it was like, okay, well, the ult's a little bit too far up towards the A side. TSM, if they win this fight versus Rossi playing over towards that tree side, it's going to be easy for them to push into the site. But you have the poison cloud that comes up. That creates a one-way and also a better crosshair placement so that Rossi, or JC Stani, could get those kills as the Astra on tree. And allowing that drops 2 players instantly with help from Rossi. And it just makes things very difficult for TSM to even lurk on that mid side. So a great way to put the first round on the board, but now that the ult is gone, they still have 3 on the board. The Killjoy ult, they have a Hunter's Fury, and they also have shot up with the Empress that's available, where it's currently heading towards this B side, cleared by the Trailblazer that's only going to get a bit of information from that shot that was heard from Staircase, but they don't know that there's 2 other players playing on that side for TSM versus Immortals.
You're probably going to see Hayes go up and throw that ult down here in a second. As another recon dart actually comes out. There's the Hunter's Fury to try to clear things out, but no, Hayes doesn't use the ult. And that is incredibly detrimental.
He only got it after dying there. He was still 1 orb away.
Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the wrong side. I'm brain dead.
I
really am an iron caster.
All good.
Chemicals was the one with the ult. I was just looking at both sides. Excuse me. Rossi lining things up over on short with Chemicals. And I feel like that's going to be a very well-held area on the map for IMT. Rossi seems to have short on lockdown, especially with that one-way and some backup as well from whoever is playing on short given the round. JC Stani has been there at times. That round he actually had his teammate, I think it was Chemicals was there, and it was Gangsta. So they had backup there. But his ult on long was weird, but his utility on short is really spot on.
Yeah, and I think the support that they have from even Chemicals putting his nanoswarms on the ground, even maybe 2 rounds ago when they tried to push aggressively on the tree side and it looked a little bit open and left behind for Immortals, the ability being popped on the the nanoswarm with combination of the poison cloud, right? You have the debuff, the decay going on top of the 50 damage by running through it. You just melt down right after on that catwalk spawn. So you could definitely see it. The A side Viper defense with the Astra and also the Killjoy utility has been like a no-go so far, like a do not enter zone. I'm currently locked up in my room. Please don't come in. I'm gaming hard. And that's Immortals right now on the defense on that side. Lurks on mid have been pretty decent, where we'll have to see if a split towards the mid side, will work.
This is awkward. Cosmic Divide comes out, as well as both Killjoy ults. So that'll slice the map in half, and you can see the effect it has as it's caused them to go across the map to another area. They'll go ahead and get the spike secured, though, over on the A site. How does this ult impact their post-plant setup? As you can see just how weird it is with its current position. I like Wardell's move, knowing there was one upper, tries to make a move in that direction with the shorty. Cutler's still in position here with the Sheriff. Oh, the shot's not quite squeezing over the top. Finally does get one above the top rail. There's still some shock darts coming out. There's a nice flash coming out as well. The Leer proves to be too much for Cutler to deal with. The forces are dwindling right now, but there is still that molly to deal with coming in from their Killjoy. Now they have to go for the re-peek as time is of the essence. The spike is being stuck. There's only 1 player left remaining. Shot up able to get the last kill on the round as Sabrosa tried to lock things down, but with 2.62 left, Immortals will get the defuse. It was 5-0 coming off the start for TSM, but Immortals keeps themselves in the game, winning 3 straight rounds. That said, that was a bit of an eco buy. They had some sheriffs, they didn't spend too much. So now TSM is coming into this one with a bit more cash. That will include the op in the hands of Wardell.
And chat probably is wondering, like, okay, this updraft from Wardell, was it really useful? At that point, it was an eco going in, right? The couple of shares moving in, and they actually were able to spend a lockdown in terms of a resource to be able to get that plant, so it was very much needed on their end on the attacker side, but they also forced out the Killjoy ult and the Cosmic Divide from Immortals. So trying to even out the tally here in terms of the abilities for ultimates, you definitely do see now Seekers for Sabrosa, which shot up on the Empress. This is going to be around with your Empress and run right behind it. The way that TSM does it, they just keep doing and working that way. It stopped actually by a snake bite and nanoswarm, but at least Hayes made it through and he could go for a plant.
It was interesting too, there was some Astra utility on short that caught Rossi. So Rossi got stunned and dazed by that Astra utility. Not that it made too much of a difference. There's that smoke on long. Nice shot onto the Lear. As strange as that is to say. But yeah, look at this flank on short. It's all going to come down to timing. Drone does get spotted out, has to fight against now both players who are facing that direction. Wardell just has to wait for the smoke to fade, but it's all Wardell. Wardell's got the op miss shot, not where it needs to be. Can't find a follow-up either. Dashes into the wall initially on an attempted escape. And it will be Immortals yet again winning the round. They did use ShotUp's ult, so Empress was deployed, but Seekers were brought out from Sabrosa as well. 4 in a row now for IMT, trying to counter TSM's 5-0 start. And
speaking about countering, it's a perfect way for them to stop that Seeker's rush from TSM as that Nanoswarm and Snakebite really split out the offense. But at least I thought in a pulse plan situation it would have been good, but it didn't really allow for TSM to play inside the site, forced to play further back. Even though Drone had a really good flank going on, that small adjustment of putting the alarm bot, just taking care of that so they don't have to worry about a flank for now. Once the alarm came out, it was a quick trade happening where Rossi won that upper hand against Drone right after and got the perfect trade and just allowed Immortals to push into the site right after. As you're running less on numbers and you're trying to win the fights against time, it's still them that takes the upper hand. But a sheriff buy going in for the team of TSM. We see a couple of them with shields, but it's still looking for Immortals to tie things up on a 5-5 scoreline.
One enemy remaining.
JC Stunny, we talked about it when we first saw the alt purchase from JC Stunny. I felt like I wasn't sure what to expect, especially when paired up against someone like Wardell, who is a bit more of a prolific opper. But the performance from JC Stani has not been bad. It's not to say that I expect terrible performance, but when you're going toe-to-toe with someone like Wardell, it's definitely difficult. And I think that JC Stani has held their own. Not exactly, lighten things up, but even that in that last round, just padding the stats a bit, getting some kills in the ego rounds. The thing that worries me is, because the op is so expensive, if there's a round where, say, they're able to rip it out of his hands and give it to Wardell, when Wardell would be on a rifle or a pistol, and the impact that could have potentially. And given how well JC Stani can play with a rifle, it does worry me when looking at a team like this. But again, right off the bat, he's able to pick up a kill, slowing down the push from TSM and bringing it down to a 5-on-3.
Just very aggressive at the beginning there. The recon dart to get information coming out with combining with the operator too, just makes things very difficult now for TSM as they left the spike. So at least there was no information that they dropped the spike for TSM. They could still pick it up. They could still force a rotate. You see all of them rotating so far because they've taken B side control, especially if Wardell is going to try to make noise over here. And that run back off camera, you saw the run back on B main. So Cutler heard that. That allows Drone to move forward too, and they could slowly inch back into B if they want to. And I think they're really counting on Wardell to try to sell that fake on the A side. But you just saw the star being pulled out here from Cutler. That kind of kept the shot up towards this B side. So back to a default Immortals. Not going to be easy once again for TSM to maintain their lead in this matchup.
30 seconds left.
What's difficult, too, is that Gangsta has now rotated in, and that means there's recon dart capability, and there's just so much utility being dumped at this site as the smoke comes out from Wardell to try to gain access to the site. Dash away. I think they're realizing that maybe B is the best course of action. Wardell can't even escape, but they do get the kill, the entry they needed to get onto B, and they will go ahead and secure the spike in that territory. But it's going to be difficult. It's a 2-on-4 and barely so. Drone's on 11 HP. That puts all of the pressure on Cutler here, who's sitting on a full boat. Meanwhile, you've got pretty much full HP for everyone other than JC standing on the other side.
Yeah, and an Odin too. Recon Dart's about to come out. Oh, it's already been shot out. This is going to be just difficult. They force out the Cosmic Divide. That could maybe help a bit. So you see the shot darts coming out, and now Cutler spotted. Not going to be winnable at this point.
Yeah. I mean, especially with Gangsta on the Odin, there's so much spam potential, and there's not really any safe spot to hide on that A site, or B site, excuse me. So you've got Drone, who's low HP, that could easily be taken care of through a wall. And then the same could be said for his teammate, who would then be left in a 1-on-4. This was the surprising thing. I think Wardell was spotted on the top edge of that smoke to the right, but also had made noise with the dash back. So Wardell had actually gone to the site, threw a cloud burst down, didn't see anything on short, and before it could fade, dashed back into long and started to run away, but did a weird double back, and in that double back moment, was dropped by the player playing on site, which was Chemicals, who was sitting around the corner the whole time waiting for him. Again, looking at the minimap at the start, it's quite comical with the amount of utility that gets dumped out early between Killjoys and Astras on both sides. And yet again, another Viper's Pit, this one actually over in B main.
Very potent, actually. It's so hard to cross into that right now, so for them to double up early into the round for Immortals and are able to place that Viper's Pit into the B side, you're following players again into so much utility, this time on the A side. I mean, the moment of salvation right now, or the light at the end of the tunnel for TSM, is that at least they have 5 rounds on attack. I don't know if the 6th round is going to happen.
Ult coming out from Gangsta. We've talked about how good Gangsta's been in the past with connections on his ult, but not quite where it needed to be this time around.
You should run.
Sabrosa was up a decent distance in mid. There's the ult coming out. Potentially scare them out of that position. It's not the worst idea, given the way that they're currently set up over on B main with the Viper ult. That'll try to push them out of mid. But here comes the play as the LMG really opens up. You've got one player left remaining for Dell. You can't hear much beyond the shots being fired, and at the tail end of the half, Chemical says, why not? Might as well. Throws down his ult too. I'm surprised that the ult from Sabrosa didn't really do much. I thought we would have seen a little bit more. Now, I want to go back and actually watch it to see the positions. If we catch it on replay, I'm not sure.
Well, they were all the way back and passive for Immortals, right? You had one in the backside of the ramp. You had 2 towards the backside heaven by the site, because all the utility towards A main could actually prevent this push from happening. And at the same time, if Wardell were to dash into the site, well, he's going to dash into a point where he's potentially out in the open, where 3 players playing more passively are able to punish him on that one too. So Immortals readjusting quite well to the ult that was placed down by Hayes, and they take the 7-5 scoreline.
It looked like, though, Shot Up was in the path, but I think that I don't know what happened. Did Shot Up dismiss to dodge the ult? Because Shot Up was in market, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm just misremembering.
No, you did. He killed Hayes.
But then the ult continued, so I'm wondering if Shot Up dismissed to dodge the ult, because it looked like he stayed in market, but maybe I was just focused on something else and misremembering. I'll have to go back and watch the VOD. Either way, that is 7 straight rounds for Immortals. So a promising start for TSM, but Immortals, they put their foot on the gas pedal and they did not let go. And a large part of that started with Rossi and his control on short, but then Rossi started getting mobile, using the ult over on B main in the last round, just making things more difficult and uncomfortable for TSM. That said, we're in a pistol round. We'll see who's going to come out on top of this one. Immortals looks like they're going to be pressuring towards the A site. Recon Dart goes out. There's the gravity well. He tried to slow them down. The Owl drone goes out. They're smoked off currently on short. Cutler's like, I'm not even shooting. This isn't fair. His teammate's the one that's spamming through the smoke. And Cutler takes a bullet to the dome. He pays the ultimate price, the ultimate sacrifice for his teammate. Spike's been planted. It's a 5-on-4 in favor of Immortals on the site. TSM, though, still trying to retake. You've got Wardell Heaven currently playing an interesting game as his target continues to leap. JC Stani very low on HP, shot down to 51. JC Stani actually gets a kill through the floor, but it'll fall down to the last remaining player, and finally shot up with his leaping antics, able to get a couple of kills and secure the pistol round. That's now 8 in a row for IMT.
This is where it gets really good for IMT as well. Just like the pulse plant, getting that poison cloud onto the ground. This is set up.
Yeah.
They've actually practiced, and Rossi is doing really good for Immortals to call out right now. And we talked about before going into the series, they're currently at a practice facility for practicing, for boot camping, and for the tournaments. So it's not necessarily a full LAN experience, but when you have players next to you and you're catching up this way, it builds that confidence. Winning 8 rounds in a row, they on that previous round, they didn't care. They just continued to jump, and they were probably laughing as they were shooting down TSM on that retake on the A side. So the confidence continues to build up, where it could start getting very detrimental here for TSM, and they had to find a good solution now.
Might be interesting. Poor drone. He has no choice at that point. He's got to peek. As the Lear comes through, it's one of those, well, that sucks kind of moments. Now, Wardell has hit some incredible shots, but has to move and change positions. The dart in his belly makes things a little bit more awkward and uncomfortable. Hayes was in market, able to get a second kill. Gangsta finally shows up with an LMG. Spam shots coming out from Wardell, not connecting. And that shock dart landed right in his gut. The follow-up is there as well. Things aren't really looking so good here for the eco round for TSM. A follow-up kill, at least coming in at the tail end by Sabrosa, who's down to 10 HP, has to watch out for the turret. He's going to die to it. I was thinking it was going to happen. He was trying to find an edge to take the turret out of the equation, but the turret has other plans.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fine too. I think they're on that pistol. He's 10 HP. You want to know where they're sitting at right now. I mean, even off the turret kill, it's definitely still going to bring an orb no matter what. So Chemicals is going to be able to build that up. But at least he doesn't get that confidence for Immortals to just be like, okay, we know exactly where he's at. Let's try to chase after him. Now in this situation, the money's back in favor for TSM in terms of the buy. Of course, the money overall still favors Immortals. But this is where the weaponry could potentially help TSM back here on the defender side, where the guided light to look out first. That's going to blind the Owl drone. But they're pushing so far up, and that tags Sabrosa. He gets shot through the smoke, and that's just unfortunate. Another one through the smoke, and an early one-player advantage for Immortals.
Immortal backs off after securing plant. Spam coming through from Gangsta to just slow down the retake. Everyone coming through from Garden and over towards Spawn. They have to contend with all of the players currently grouped up on long. The spike was tapped for a moment, but had to get pulled off of because of a nanoswarm that was dropped down. There's the snake bite going down on top of the spike as well. Immortals has so much delay utility. When it comes to a post plant, it's going to be so difficult between the nanoswarm, snake bites, and then also you've got Astra utility.
Recon darts is just very difficult.
It's going to be very difficult. And the shock darts, like there's just so much they can do in a post plant that will be difficult for TSM to deal with.
And that's one of those things with this new meta right now. Look at how far back everybody from Immortals was compared to where TSM was, right? On the on the pulse plant situation. So to have all 4 players playing towards the A main, to be able to use that utility to try to keep Viper alive, to try to keep JC Stani alive on top of that too, it's going to be very hard for TSM to retake. They have to push back. They have to be aggressive on their own. So they have to, I was saying before in this game, the double initiator is going to help for that, to counter that, right? You have the recon on their side, you have the flashes on their end too, and you have your own Astra to try to push back and regain that possession, regain that control towards that A main. lane. But when you're losing players that early into the round, it just makes it harder and harder for you to retake, right? Because they lost Cutler one round, this round again, and they lost Sabrosa as the first death of that previous round. So those agents that I was telling you about that could help on the retakes are not there for that opportunity.
Wardell going inside the smoke, has to be careful. Oh, that's awkward. The drone just takes the strangest path, maneuvering through that smoke. And now Hayes is left alone, tries to hit the shot on the leaping target. Does at least get one, but there's the flank coming through from the window. Immortals is looking to close this game out without allowing TSM to win a round since round 5. The early rounds went TSM's direction off of a great setup that Sabrosa had going towards the B site. We would see Sabrosa open up with Guiding Light, Trailblazer to follow, Guiding Light again, and then he'd basically just kind of like walk out onto B and see what was there. He would use some Astra utility as well if necessary towards spawn to give him some more lurk potential, but it's really quieted down since those early rounds. Their attacking side started to fall flat, and now their defensive side is struggling. There is a full buy round coming in here that does include the off purchase position given away by the recon dart. You see Gangsta is just having a field day, currently spamming through the edge, taking out the turret no less. That makes this position from Hayes a little bit more awkward.
While Nanoswarm's thrown at the same time, some shock darts came out, even a lockdown to prevent him from pushing in. So trying to run down the clock, trying to force down the rotation and allow this battle to happen. And as you force Immortals back, do you kill Noise? Do you go back into where they still have a lot of utility for it? So well, let's see what happens. It was Killjoy after Killjoy, and now back to a stalemate.
Killjoy's making a Venn diagram of the B site. Anyone in the middle would be the ones detained, which obviously does not happen. Recon Dart does give away Drone's position. He's stuck in such a weird position. Cosmic Divide goes down. Shot Up has popped Empress as well. They're trying to guarantee the site take. They've still got to deal with Drone, who's waiting around the corner, up on top of the boxes. His position is solid. It's a 3K for Drone. Make it 4 on the round. TSM finally put themselves back on the scoreboard after losing 11 straight. And it's all off the back of some heroics from Drone.
Yeah, the repositioning from Drone was really good, but also you had to give it for Hayes. Even though he's only good for 1 kill, taking that off position, like the off angle right in front of the dices, he was basically in a do-or-die spot against an Empress of Shot Up, where faster rapid fire, faster reaction time from Shot Up would have been easy melt there onto Hayes and potentially already Drone dying at the same time. So with Hayes dying, them focusing on the second player that's back at the staircase allows Drone to be in that tight angle to get that 4K in the end. So very well done for TSM, despite all that chaotic push at the beginning from Immortals inside the site.
Yeah, I think that's something that we didn't really mention. You had briefly touched upon it there. Wardell was back steps. That's why they weren't aiming at Drone. They were trying to deal with both players. So Wardell was hanging out on the back steps, kind of just peeking out, taking pop shots, but it allowed Drone to hang out in that position a little while longer. Gave him more staying power, and even when it came down to Rossi, the last remaining player for IMT, there was still concern over whether or not there was going to be a player on back steps holding that line. So it's just an awkward position, and it was really well played by both Drone and Wardell, despite the fact that Drone gets the trophy and the MVP award on the round. 50 seconds left, and we haven't seen much here in round number 18. Wardell is holding long A with an op.
This
Waiting
is so
for the peak to come through. Yeah, well, you've got that Astra utility
exactly
down. They could easily just pull him in.
Not even for Wardell, but for Sabrosa even.
Oh, that's brutal. As soon as he steps into the smoke, it dies. Sabrosa's in a great spot to get at least one. The Hunter's Fury comes out, but the spam is just spot on. Great damage being dealt by the Hunter's Fury, but no! JC Stanny stepping up big.
Huge.
And now again, it's TSM who's at reduced power. 2 players remaining. At least Hayes catches one on the flank, but the spike will go down and force the fight over on the A side.
At least you have a good rifler and Drone right now. 2 players are low on HP, waiting for Hayes to come up. They're going to double up together towards the doorway and try to retake it, but more as the time continues to take on this spike, the better the positioning is for Immortals on this triple crossfire. So let's see what happens. That.
Yeah. Really not much to watch. I thought they might wait for a recon dart, but didn't happen. They just go for the peak, and the lineup works out so nicely for Shot Up on the ADS. 20-7 for Chemicals here as Killjoy, 16-9 for Rossi as Viper. On the opposite side, Drone and Sabrosa on the only 2 players for TSM in double digits. 16-14 for Drone, 10 and 14 for Sabrosa. Cutler just having a rough one, 2 and 15 currently. Just can't seem to get the best of his opposition, but still making great plays with that Astra utility. There's the flash coming through. Drone does give away the position, so the Al Drone going to spot at least one player out. Cutler's hanging out underneath site. There is a lot of firepower waiting on the other side of long as all of IMT is grouped up. But they've decided to back off. They don't like what they saw over on A, and they did pull a lot of resources in that direction, to be fair. There's only one player currently playing over towards B. That would be Hazed, who's actually playing back towards spawn. So they're playing retake on the B site currently, which is fine. If they can actually manage to retake, it's going to be tough because Rossi has the ult. If they can get that spike down, it's going to be very difficult for TSM to get back in.
The Trailblazer came out. He thought nobody was going to be there for Sabrosa, and as he peeks out, 2 players came out there, and that was so close on the timing. Could have been picked off there. The wall comes back up, and because of that wall, and you were able to push Sabrosa back, he's rotating to where they think the hit's happening towards B, but they're about to split into the A side for Immortals, where there's only 2 players heading up there.
A little scary there for Cutler, jumping and trying to peek. Nano Swarm will force him to peek, but there's Wardell with the backup. Shot-ups coming in on the flank, and the site has fallen apart. It's down to this one player on site, Drone, who tries to charge out and make the hero play, but everything lands in Hayes' lap, and this is what we were talking about. That ult coming in from Viper is going to be so hard for them to deal with in the post-plant Ace, and it's IMT on the attack. And we do get that Viper after all, the one we expected to see.
And it's looking for Immortals to try to set up here towards this B side. Bear is already up. First point of contact will be Sabrosa. Could potentially put a wall up and fall back, especially now that he gets pinged. He's not even going to wall. Toxic screen to come up. Very aggressive from TSM towards this B side.
And this is going to be the wall that comes in through as well. It was actually great damage coming out along with the Nano Swarm. So that pushes Chemicals back, forces out the self-heal pretty quickly. A heal comes in on the other side for Hazed. But you can see the after effects, leaving both teams a little bit scratched and scuffed. Spike's been planted and it's retake time, but everyone's stuck in similar positions. Hurdled up behind yellow and moving back over towards long. Now, the wall has been broken and a follow-up wall comes through. They do break the wall on the other side, so the opportunity to defuse on that is going to disappear. And that results in a fast play and push in. There's the snake bite kill, something we don't see all that often. And Cutler, who's left alone in the 1-on-5. A flawless round victory. A lot of damage dealt to both teams on the initial push, but IMT survives with all 5 to win the round.
Yeah, so now you got to be careful for Rossi with these lineups that he has with the snake bites. He was playing it all the way towards that back of the B site, or sorry, of yellow. But at the same time, I like how they're actually countering Immortals on that retake versus TSM, rather, because when that Owl drone came out from Drone towards that back site, well, we had shot up that threw an instant leer towards the top of the dark cover just to make sure that the Owl drone doesn't get enough information, but somehow nobody shot it. It still came through. They had information for that, but just no kills. And now for this round, it's going to be a Marshall no armor trying to go for an early tag with no success, and it's going to be Immortals already taking control of pipes and moving really closer and closer, where Wardell is in a do-or-die spot and falls back himself.
Shot out the first one in, but his teammate JC Stanny taken out by a pistol. Now we've seen Wardell do great things with the Marshall in these rounds. Even though that last map didn't go great for them, Marshall on the second round for Wardell has been at least a little solid. There's again the snake bite going down to try to delay the push. Wardell with the no-scope on the Marshall. Straight to the dome of shot up. The plant still hasn't been guaranteed, but it is a 1-on-2 with a Marshall no less. He's got 2 shots, 1 for each of them. Can he make this happen? Wardell gonna peek from upper. Oh, there's the no-scope follow-up, but again, 2 bullets is all he had. And the reload tries to come through, and Rossi's having none of it. A solid round, all things considered, for TSM. Great economic damage, but the win will go the way of Immortals. But look at what it does to their cash. You've got Shot Up, who's forced to go down to like a pistol or accept a buy from somebody else. Light armor for 2 players. It's going to impact their utility as well.
Placing alarm bot.
Still like the fact that Wardell actually used a Marshall in that previous round because he builds up kills with that. That means he's got Blade Storm into this round. So he's going to go with the Marshall again with small shields. The rest of them going small shields with Phantom. So a typical round right now for the defenders as Sabrosa spots a first one on green, and tries to get the first kill, but he gets punished himself. So already an early player down, and Hayes is forced to fall back inside the site.
Lear comes out. Help guarantee a sight, and that wall is going to come through as well. We're going to see a lot of that wall being utilized. Oh my god. Wardell tries to go really high with the ult. Shot up just picks him off. Like he's skeet shooting at this point. Cutler is back in a similar territory, and I think they just called for a save. They're all retreating, all three players backing off. They are not committing to this one.
Yeah. I think at this point, Wardell, if I'm not mistaken, didn't pull out his Blade Storm, so they're still going to have it into the next round.
No, he did.
He did? Okay.
He did. Yeah, he went. He was up, updraft from back towards Snowman, very high, with the ult out, and shot up just booped him.
Okay, so that's going to make things a little bit difficult, but at least with 3 rifles, that could still help in terms of like the players where the positions where they're currently playing. At least they can maybe try to anchor down towards the A side with a bit. Hayes having his rifle on a B side is definitely going to help too with what Sabrosa needed, because they're getting a lot of pressure from JC Stani on that B side early into the round. So my apologies for missing out on that Blade Storm that was used there by Wardell. But with that, it's going to be a glass cannon come out, and there's actually no economy for Sabrosa, so he's going to have to go with the Spectre. So this is going to be a situation of a do or die before their economy just shambles down, and Immortals might continue their spree here on the attacker side. And this is night and day so far of the Immortals of how they usually play on this Icebox map. The control, the fast pace on the attacker side is definitely paying off.
Got Hayes in an advanced position, and this just feels like a continuation of the last map with the way some of these early round duels have gone. Shot Up is feeling it right now, and he's just going to keep on charging. And now Sabrosa is in a great position. Never mind. You've got a flank play coming through, and there was no support from mid. And that's what allows JC Stani to do what JC Stani is doing right now. Drone still can't look back, thinking that there's support coming through from the Jet in mid, but it's not there in time. Finally, Wardell shows up, but it's too little too late. Now is stuck in the ice. Nice tailwind to get away at least. How many kills can Wardell get on the retreat? Snakebite lands right on top of him, and down to 20 HP as the orb comes through as well. Another round for IMT. Sure, they lose 2 players, but they're going to steal the AWP away, give it back to JC Stani, and their money is going to start ballooning quick.
This is a huge pickup for the operator now. Like you said, it's hard for TSM to get the money right. Now they can leverage this operator for how they're aggressing towards this B side. It's because they don't also have any type of like early smokes being thrown. So this is an opportunity for JC Stani if he wants to peek out towards long B, could face off against Sabrosa. If he wants to go on top of Tube, he could play against Hayes in his current round. Or if he wants to try to op battle towards the A side eventually against Wardell, that could be another one that's going to happen. And it seems to be a Marshall versus operator potentially here towards this A site.
Woo! Oh, all right. Got to pull the trigger. It felt like JC Stani had the beat on him. He just didn't shoot. So, not sure what the case was there, but that will be a player disadvantage. Chemicals still pretty far away from the ult, so no res coming in this time around. The team going to be working with just 4 players. But they do have Reyna's ult, so Empress is available. Shot Up could try to pop that one to give him that extra edge. Currently, Shot Up is carrying the spike, and that is another nice pickoff for TSM to try to regain some control here in this second map, as Cutler goes aggro with a Sheriff and just rips Gangsta's head off of his shoulders.
And they barely got any damage done onto TSM with that, right? So they're in a great spot right now with the numbers advantage. But the thing is, you see that they killed Noise for Immortals. They're trying to walk back for control towards the A side. And because of that early push towards the A side for TSM, TSM thinks the hit's going to happen towards B. So they have still a numbers advantage for Immortals moving into the site when they have nothing left here for TSM, unless this hits. Well,
Down A.
Cutler getting another kill so far. We're looking for the plant. There's no time left. Ashes are pushing forward the counter wall to come up, and they won't get a plant. A thrifty round coming in for TSM just from a crucial kill by taking down the spike carrier, by forcing the clock down with keeping Immortals guessing of where they wanted to rotate back and forth. And after killing the noise and trying to get back into the A site, well, we saw it. It just got a little bit more difficult because of that numbers advantage, because of how late that push was going, and it just pays off in the end. Got to thank Wardell for that Marshall to start things off on that previous round, and it looks like he's about to keep it into this round as well.
Thank God for replay. I missed all of that. My internet cut out as soon as I handed it to you.
Good timing. Nobody noticed it.
It came back right after, but it was bizarre, to say the least. Now, Sabrosa's going to try and get this. Oh my gosh, he almost got caught. The wall did cover enough. And Rossi's on the other side like, man, that hurt. 49 HP for Rossi, who's going to get the heal back to full from Chemicals. IMT wants to get over towards this A site. There's support coming in pretty quickly. This recon or shock dart could be right on the money. And it does drop Drone down just a little bit as they start to work their way up. Drone's in position, but no, he was not prepared for that. Thought he had backup from Cutler. Cutler was playing more of an off angle. The landing doesn't come too cleanly for shot up, but there's the peak coming out. Back and forth volley. And it is favoring TSM, at least for the time being. Gangsta on the other side of that wall as it breaks. Able to find one more. Now, Sabrosa does have the ult available, so the res will come through. Ooh. Nice shot from Wardell, and they have the 3-on-1 now. Chemicals, Insight, has to go big. Only has the heal. Ult's been popped. Can't even find the first kill. TSM. Huge round from them to keep things moving in the positive direction after winning that first one by denying the plant, and now a follow-up with a 3-versus-1 retake.
And you're seeing that, right? Even despite a 3-versus-1, not knowing where Chemicals was at, they're like, screw it. Let's just go with that lockdown down towards screens. We're going to burn that over, and we're just going to try to win the round, secure the round at that point, too. And it shows how much respect they're giving to Immortals from since that first map. We talked about the respect that they've given to Immortals when they were on even Ecos. They were getting popped by shares from time to time, but even now, going into Icebox, they're still trying to find their footing. They got 2 rounds so far out of 6. They want to try to build it up a little bit more for them here on the defender side, but we finally have a real operator battle. It's not a Marshall versus Op anymore. It's really JC Stani versus Wardell, both of them with denies, but still a lot more ultimates in hand for Immortals to try to take this A side to start.
Wardell. This is what you want to see from Wardell, that aggressive confidence. Now, the updraft was faked out. I'm not sure if it was faked out or just missed initially. But that's the kill coming through to kick things off for TSM. A res does come out, so negates the early damage.
Well,
the shot goes through the wall and connects to JC Stani, who gets knocked down to 9 HP, but there is a heal coming out from Chemicals. So Chemicals' utility really being stretched here in the early round with the res and the heal coming out. But they find one on the backside, and that opens up an avenue towards the B site.
It was such a good start. The first kill, forcing a res, and then just like that, it goes down to just trying to push the pinch into the A side. The ult comes out, though, for the defenders towards B. Wardell's posted up with the op, and he's looking for a big kill.
Oh, he misses. Oh, that's so awkward. I think he meant to go the other direction. And he just flies out into the site, and you can see it practically on his face when that happens. The spike barely goes down as the wall gets chipped away at the last possible second. So they have the ability to try and go in for the defuse. And they've already stuck it, and they're not really being able to stop this one at all. Yeah, it's just not much that can be done here. Team Ace? I'm not sure.
They got the
how
defuse.
Yeah.
No matter what, they got the defuse.
But we got a Team Ace call out, and there's still players alive, like multiple players.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. But I didn't really pay attention to what was happening towards the end. I still was not necessarily face palming, but like trying. I had that meme going through.
It's like 3-on-2.
I know. Yeah, we'll just skip it away. We'll skip it away. But just think about how that went, and you're like, okay, well, that meme of that's when he knew he and then up. It was like that green screen where Wardell's trying to dash away. But thankfully, on that retake, though, having that cloud, the dark cover being thrown by Cutler and just sticking onto the spike, knowing that it's pretty much desperate meshes right now for TSM. They're scrapping right now for these rounds. And then at least it's paying off. A 4-3 scoreline right now, a Hunter's Fury from Drone, and a kill from Hayes. They're slowly clawing back.
That last round, definitely disappointing for Immortals. You know, after they really turned the early round in the mid-game, or in the mid-round, excuse me, they lost a player, rezzed, healed, found the flank kill. Things should have turned for the better for them, but it just didn't go that way in the tail end. Now they do have tube control, or at least some amount of tube control, and as they spot the leaping target inside kitchen, they realize it's better to move in a different direction. What they're not prepared for is this wall waiting for them on the other side. So again, there's a lot of delay power here. Sabros is in a great position too. It's all going to come down to timing which angles he's going to watch. Not the right one. He was pivoting between both the up top and down low, and in that time just gets caught looking the wrong way. Great shot coming up from JC Stanny. Cutler has to move positions. He was up on top of the boxes. The spike will be planted here in just a moment. Again, the knives come out. This time, Wardell won't be bested. Oh, no, the ult gets canceled, and so does the spike. The round falls apart off of Drone's massive 3K from inside of Tube. He was waiting on the other side of the wall, and they didn't anticipate that.
That was some flick and a half for sure for those kills, and it did not anticipate that because of that kill coming in from Wardell. Everybody is focusing on that wall coming out. They're focusing on the plant. They're like, okay, we have a numbers disadvantage. Let's just try to bring the Viper's Pit out. And perfect timing for Drone to get that 2K, and even tallying it up on that triple with that last kill was very well done. You still have to give it for the game sense of JC Stani and the rest there of the Immortals to get that opening kill onto Sabrosa. Yes, it was in a great spot. I love the wall also that forces a player to go for like a 4-block spray to open up the wall right there. That type of wall, kind of like a tube-way. You see the first one, the second one, you're wasting a lot of bullets, you're giving your positions away, but JC Stani just went for the peak and quick scope to get the kill onto Sabrosa too. So very well done at least to start, but TSM on that hold, even preventing the plan, was huge right now, and they tie up the game 4-4.
Again, we see that wall on long. This time, though, Sabrosa is playing much further back, where we've seen Sabrosa play pretty aggressive that position in the past. A much more careful approach from IMT than we saw from them in the first few rounds, where they were flying out on sites, largely off the back of ShotUp's entry power. But now we're at a tie score. This is like the flip of the last map, whereas TSM, who got off to a 5-0, and then IMT woke up and just charged through. Now, JC Stanny catches Cutler looking the wrong direction. A weird setup on the site that results in site control going the direction of IMT. The spike will be planted. This shot from Wardell gives them that opener. He's down low on HP, sitting at 34. Sabrosa is alive, but in a terrible spot to give him the heal. So it's going to come down to this battle over on long. Sabrosa has to self-heal in that instance. So it will be Wardell forced to work with less HP, trying to make their way out onto the site. You've got Haste already down on the ground, backside site, looking for information, trying to spot players out. There's one waiting right around the corner. Barrel, though, speaking out, and it doesn't seem to make a difference. Dismiss coming in from ShotUp. Alir to follow up as well. Wardell is now the last player standing, and he's kind of stuck on site, realizes it, tries to get out of there, goes for the updraft and the dash. They're going to push and take out the op, and it will not be brought into the next round. So IMT get themselves back on the scoreboard yet again. After winning the first 4, they lost 4 in a row, but they control the lead for the time being.
Yeah, and that's where you're starting to see, okay, well, it's not working out, at least with the aggressive pushes that they're doing for Immortals, so they're starting to throw a little bit more of a default and also trying to sell fakes, which is why you see there Rossi throwing up that wall towards that side on B, and just in case if he wants, he can put that wall up, keep some defenders towards that B side. They work towards A, and if it happens that they cannot win the fights towards A, or they're trying to get a kill, they can always reset and run back towards B and fully execute there. So we talked about how they were good at rotating TSM on that ascent side before. This is an opportunity for them to do it right now. Here's where it changes though for Sabrosa. He puts a wall very deeply towards that yellow side that might allow for Immortal to cross over to yellow if they wanted to without being opposed, but they just break the wall instead for the attack. They kill the noise and they move towards the A site where there's only one player playing there.
Falling back off long. The drone kind of scaring them away. Position being gathered up by TSM as well off the back of that drone play. We'll see if JC Stanley is going to continue to hold this or not. They've got two players pushing through from B, but it looks like they're pretty much dedicated to the site. Shot up's going ahead across the site on the zip line, and the spike will be planted momentarily. Or not.
Yeah, he wanted.
Oh, he ended up on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on. So he accidentally fell on the other side of the wall. Has to run all the way around, very awkwardly, mind you.
Huge.
Look at Hayes, though. This is what we were talking about. They weren't prepared for the flanks, so Hayes is able to come through. They got one kill on one of the flankers. They didn't anticipate the second.
Exactly.
So Hayes is in a huge position that takes down two players and really flattens out the hold, and now they're just stuck in such an awkward spot. Hayes has found 3 kills on the round. It's all up to Shot Up. The self-heal is in, but good luck. Drone holding the corner, and we're back to a tie score.
I was trying to figure out too why we were throwing that smoke earlier on for Cutler there, right by the generator, out in the open of the site, and it's just to make sure that it keeps kind of like Immortals guessing at, is there somebody still behind that generator wall? Is there somebody playing it behind the truck? And with that, just wasting that time and putting a huge question mark of where the defenders could be on at least a hold. It allows for Sabrosa and for Hayes to actually go for a flank in the back of the site because they have too many resources thinking about the front. So very well done for TSM to run that down and to actually throw that half fake pretty much for TSM onto Immortals to allow those flanks to happen. This round, Op is out. Wardell looking towards the entrance of the A side. There is that jump. Here comes the Nice. He's staying on top while we do have drone pushing forward. So at first the fall, spraying across, doesn't work. And the Nice trying to capitalize with JC Stani. He does get walled down to 5 HP, now healed up at the same time. We're even up on a 4-4.
He's also got the rifle of, open to him, excuse me. They'll go ahead and grab the orb on long. Chemicals will get the plant here, and then they can get the res. So after Chemicals gets this up, he'll go back and he'll res Shot Up, or potentially even Rossi. But there is that opportunity, and there's the res coming through. That's huge. That could turn the round a little bit, but the spike's being stuck here as there's a wall on the other side. And now they're blind. They can't see anything, detained by the Killjoy ult. Everything thrown at the site, and TSM finally takes control of the scoreboard and takes the lead at the tail end of the first half. Round 11 is the first time they have that lead in their possession, and they've put Immortals in an awkward spot for this final round too. They're by, sure there's going to be rifles in play, but it's going to be light armor and it's not going to be pretty.
And that was actually pretty huge for Sabrosa because every single round, 10 rounds in a row, Sabrosa had to place a wall somewhere towards B main, towards a fallback or whatnot. You see him putting it up right now in case he's going to get pressured again. But that's how it allows for, or sorry, slow orb, but that's where it allows for him to actually just get that position and make sure that he's able to fall back into the A site because he wasn't getting pressured earlier on towards that B site. So that wall was crucial. The paranoia on top of that to blind everybody on top of the lockdown. And now this round though, Drone's the ones that's trying to push forward, trying to catch them off guard. Now you have Sabrosa that gets pinged. But Cutler's up there on yellow as well. Huge trades, but still a 2-on-2.
Welcome to my world.
There's the ult. This time it actually goes off. Last time Rossi popped the ult, he was killed pretty much instantaneously. Now, interestingly enough, despite the fact that the ult was down, Rossi still goes to a more default position, and that is problematic. Canceled ult coming out from Gangsta, very much wise given that he was low on HP. But it's TSM who closes out the half, 7-5. You know, I'm looking at that ult. Rossi pops the ult and then plants not on default, but in a position similar enough that spam can come through towards default and hit him. And you can see just little bits of damage coming through as the spray came through the box. As the spike was secured, he fell towards the tail end.
So it's getting closer and closer here. The second half, we want to see if TSM could continue that momentum. Yeah, that was a huge no-scope there. And you know what? Still pretty accurate though, going with no scope with the Marshall. Still very fast, still very quick. He has some key plays right now, right here from Joan, for example. But the pushes that they had towards the A side for TSM on the defense was really good too. It was a good way for them to come back, but we still have that question mark. How is TSM going to be looking on the attack now? How do you play the defense too for Immortals now that you have a Viper playing on defense too, where the Viper's pick can take so much map control? And even look at their position right now on this minimap. The Poison Cloud that's placed towards the green side, he's anchored on his own, and you have now TSM working towards A, and that wall that we talked about before, the crossover towards the A site. You're going to have players walking in with so much decay if they want to rush into the A site.
Into the A site they go. Bordel
Nice.
with the frenzy. Nice little two-piece before being taken care of by Chemicals. Wall's up, and the spike is down, and Chemicals had a great idea, but it's actually his teammate who ends up winning the first battle post-plant. It's Rossi. Drone is trying to eyeball this wall, knowing that they might try to jump over it or take the rope up to go over it. So you can see them trying and not quite committing just yet. Finally, the first one comes through. There's Gangsta on the other side. Rossi from distance with a frenzy, and it comes down to actually a one-on-two. Make it a one-on-one. Gangsta takes it to halfway. Both players are low, mind you. Hazed on 37, Gangsta on 22. Yeah. The turret is down. He's just baiting this one so perfectly, and he didn't get it to half after all. I thought he did. It was so close. Well played by Hazed in the 1v1.
Because he heard that drop from Hayes towards that belt. He's like, I'm just going to gamble it just to see if I can get the kill. There's definitely some comms going on for Immortals, especially now they're on land saying, I hit him for this much. I hit him for this much. He's only got 34 HP, or at least one shot, as we like to call it when we're actually in the heat of the moment. So he just tried to gamble it out, and Daze just did a good job just to dance back and forth for that kill. So very well done, at least on the execution for TSM. That wall that came up, Wardell already dashed across, and by having that recon dart from Drone in the back of the site allowed that spacing to happen so that Wardell could get towards that back of the site, and a double kill with the frenzy, and he did his job. This round could push towards mid.
I love this, actually. They stack up towards mid, and they just want to do some damage. Hazed is looking for the ace, and he's going to get it. The first ace on the day here for the mainstream. Sure, it's an anti-eco, but still, that was actually a
could have been dangerous.
Eco. Like, all things considered, IMT actually did a lot of damage.
Exactly.
A lot of kills going back and forth. And Hazed only had an SMG, so there was certainly potential there. But TSM in the controlling position currently 9-5 over Immortals. And Hazed now has the ult as well. So they've got lockdown available and at their disposal off the back of that ace. So as much as we might look at those kills and be like, oh, they're eco kills, who cares? Like, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
They now have a massive ult that can't be countered from the other side because they don't have anything to really stop it or prevent it right now.
It definitely wasn't a big deal or anything. I think it was a big deal just because they had so many players on that mid side and actually connecting shots, right? So it was definitely a doable situation for Immortals. And even speaking about them, they tried to go for an early battle again at JC Stani versus Wardell, but it's going to be JC Stani aiming down the site with that Vandal to get that pick, which is good enough here. I mean, Wardell, I'm pretty sure it was still on that Marshall, if I'm not mistaken, if he picked one on that second round. But let's see what happens. An ult because Hayes got the ult, but then he gets picked off right away. The lockdown's still going to go off, and they're going to be able to take map control, but it's still a 5-on-3.
Shot up.
No
Getting
way.
Great position. The dismiss to get away as well. And there's the final kill coming in for Shot Up. That's what you want to see for this team, for Immortals to really wake up. Shot Up, picking up a big 4K in the round, and now is in position with the ult. So he's got his own ult at his disposal. Shot Up is just sitting top rope, finding kill after kill. The recon dart gives away positions, and then goes for the dismiss.
Exactly.
I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, exactly.
Dismiss to dodge the ult. Yet again, that's the second time we've seen him do that this series. He did that on the first map as well, I think. I can't recall. We watched it live, and I was even asking myself after the fact if it happened. Hayes went for an ult in mid, and I think he dismissed as the ult came through to dodge it, but regardless.
At least it's confirmed
strong
here.
Play. Yeah, exactly. We saw it happen.
But now look at this round. We actually have a position where, unfortunately, because of that second round, right? Like I said, it was a big deal because it did a lot of damage with the pistols for Immortals onto TSM. So this round, they're going to be all on pistols, and they're just relying on Wardell. Wardell actually went for the force buy with the armor and the operator, and he does connect onto JC Stani. So the jet battle continues to go back and forth, but we still have yet to come into the site because of this poison cloud just to slow things down.
Poison's on.
TSM trying to gain control of this B site. Peek from Rossi that costs him his life. The wall's been broken, but the spike will likely be planted here in a moment. As there's still a safe spot there for Drone to spot. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. They dropped the spike, and it's in awkward territory now. They have to scoop it up, but they don't have anything to kind of give them safety. So Sabrosa's going to go for the plant. That's a big shot coming out from Wardell to help secure things. Again, the plant is touched, but it's shot up coming through with the ult. They have to watch out for the Empress. He comes into position, and this is just shot up doing shot up things. The heal is now out. He's back to full HP. He has to be careful. There's two targets towards long. Big fat paranoia coming through, but it doesn't seem to slow him down whatsoever. The recon dart's going to give away the position. That is a massive retake coming in from Immortals.
Yeah, the paranoia was huge to hit Gangsta, but off, just a little bit off was shot up to be able to get that position and a crosshair placement for the last two kills, with help from Gangsta, of course, by putting that recon dart down. I mean, it was such a great effort for TSM with all of these openers that Wardell did. He got 3 kills, so they really counted and trusted Wardell with the entries, and look how good he's been. But after that, just because the kills that he's gotten for Wardell were just a little bit too far for TSM to pick up the rifles and to upgrade, because the last 2 players for the Immortals were still playing towards orange. So when Hayes got picked off, he's like, well, they're both there towards orange. We can't rush forward to pick up the guns. Let's count on Wardell again. But Wardell, unfortunately, at yellow, that gets picked off by the Empress. That doesn't allow the last 2 players to be in a great position on a pulse plan, unfortunately. So you heard the economy. It was still expensive for a round, and because of that, you still have enough to go for the operator buy because you had the 3 kills and a spike plant and the bonus. TSM still has a chance to maintain this lead.
Shot comes out from Wardell. We've been seeing that in this second map more specifically. The first map was a little bit more problematic for him. JC Stani has popped the ult in response, but Wardell is holding the line, preventing that ult from being a bigger problem than it could have potentially been. There's the ult coming out from Gangsta. Shots coming out over the top. He tries to cancel to dodge it, but he can't in time, and Wardell has now found 3 on the round, systematically picking them apart single-handedly. He's now brought it down to 2. It's Chemicals and Rossi. Now Rossi's been dropped by Drone, and the last player remaining is Chemicals, and with Chemicals holding it off, trying to get away. Not gonna happen. That'll be 10 rounds, double digits for TSM. Some impressive op work coming out from Wardell.
Yeah, that's 6 kills so far within 2 rounds for Wardell. Even if he popped the knives, he would have been, like 2 rounds ago, he's already got the ult again if he wanted to. So very well done, especially that kill was huge to prevent his teammate from getting taken down by JC Stani's knives by trying to plant on the top of the tower. And that was Sabrosa. Half of his body was out there and pretty much a sit and duck. And it's in these situations where Wardell is starting to warm up, being ready, starting to land his shots, this is where TSM starts to get very scary when they have that confidence moving forward. So no op being saved. You're trying to determine if you're going to go for it right now, as we have this, I would say, this tactical pause because of the amount of rounds that were lost so far for Immortals on the defense. They're probably trying to guess with JC Stani. Are we going to go with an operator small shields? What are we going to get for Chemicals because he doesn't have enough money to go for a rifle with armor? So you're going to have to try to reassess. Is it going to be a stack right now for Immortals? But overall here, Buck, you're really happy as a TSM fan to see if this is going to go to a 3rd map, because it's looking very good for a 3rd map so far, with how TSM has looking a little bit more confident on these takes, on these hits, and not being afraid of these toxic screens coming up on the A side. So now, with this tactical pause for Immortals, just trying to figure things out. I mean, they have potentially some battles that they want to try to fight for the orb, but because they're so low on the economy for Immortals, I don't think they want to try to battle that way. They want to try to probably stay a little bit more further back and try to fight back versus TSM at this point, where it has worked for Immortals when they were actually playing more passively towards the Ascent side, but not having a Killjoy to combine with these toxic screens or whatnot from Rossi. This is where it gets dangerous here for Immortals as well, where TSM can actually push forward again, not being afraid because the decay doesn't last as long as it used to with the new patch, and TSM is starting to see that as a window of opportunity.
Also, Chemicals is not really hitting that same level of performance we saw in that first series.
Yeah, but
Chemicals look really good as Killjoy.
I
mean, that's a classic example, though.
Yeah.
Don't say that but just because someone's bottom fragging, they should be cut. You know?
Yeah, but the amount of assists that he's gotten from the first half to now has been key for Immortals at least too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the point is, like, you know, Chemicals was top performer for IMT Map 1 and now is struggling here in Map 2, but that's just sometimes the way it goes. Someone has to bottom frag. I think that often, you know, the community looks at a player who's bottom frag and goes, oh, this player should retire, cut this player, what are they even doing here? There's obviously more at stake than just kills. I'm sure I'll get flamed for that, but whatever. It's another day in Twitch paradise, right? Yeah. Looking at the score right now, even though TSM is in control, this is a big round for IMT. If they find the win here, they can come up 8-10. They're right within closing distance of TSM. They'll have a little bit of control of the economy. That's the biggest piece. And they do have the op in play in JC Stanny's hands. The op in the hands of Wardell, no surprise on the other side. We did start talking about the matchup between the two and whether or not JC Stanny would be able to get the best of Wardell. It does feel like, in general, Wardell has had that. They try to stop the plant there as Rossi throws down the snake bite, but it doesn't get there in time, and that allows TSM to get the plant off. Rossi is low on HP as the leaping target he was aiming for does escape, and now it's post-plant time for TSM. A 5-on-5, but damage has been dealt to several players, and they have to pick and choose which one's going to get the heal, and it won't be JC Stanny this time around. He's sitting on 45 HP, and the kills are starting to pile up for TSM. Again, there's the peek from Wardell, swinging out wide, and this decision is being made. It's time to escape, but you can't even get away. You've got players already on the flank holding it down, preventing that from even being possible. Good luck, Gangsta. He's going to try and hold on to his rifle as long as he can. He's got the best HP possible. But he'll survive, and he might even be able to go back and grab the off.
He's going to leave it behind, and it's going to be TSM looking pretty good there on the attack. Even it got dangerous when Drone was actually going for a Hunter's Fury on the offense instead of actually trying to keep it for a pulse plant. But you see, again, who was on that scoreboard off camera for these kills? Wardell with the operator. Cutler as well. Cutler has been one of those guys where we said, okay, well, he didn't have too much of a good game on that first map, but playing as an Omen right now in the second one, getting these crucial kills, getting the right smokes right now for TSM has been helping too. Although, I do have to give it so far for just how TSM's been playing on the attack. It's very dangerous right now for Immortals, especially in the situation now. They only had that Phantom that they saved from the previous round and pistols into this round. And let's see if they could actually hold it out. They're trying to look for some information towards mid side, but that smoke prevents Rossi from moving forward. And now everything's on a stalemate. You're going to have to lurk from Hayes towards his B side. I actually quite like this. Now you could actually see where a stack is going to be happening because they do expect a stack somewhere, and they could also find out where Gangsta's playing that rifle. And if it's going to be towards a site that is not going to have Gangsta, you might see a full rotate back towards B.
There's the ult being called from Cutler. That'll get them some information on the site.
Yep.
There's a lot of information to be had. A lot of players over on the A site currently. There's only one playing over towards the B site. And again, Wardell has JC Stanny's number. And that's happened so many times throughout this series. Whether he's had an op or a rifle, it seems like he's just got that one dialed in. Even though JC Stanny's playing all right. He's not playing poorly. It's just when it comes to the one-on-one, it seems to go that direction pretty frequently. The last remaining player is Gangsta, the only player who came into this round with anything.
Yep.
And he's 1 HP away from where he was at the end of the last round. Sabrosa goes up the rope, and it'll be a kill coming in for the Sage. 12-7. TSM looking to close things out in map number 2, force us to a third map. And if we are to go there, the third map in the series will be Bind. A map that we said coming into this one kind of favors IMT a little bit, just based on what we've seen, but I don't know, TSM coming in off of a hot win might change things.
Oh, definitely. We'll see what happens. The third map potentially, but there's still a chance to come back into this one. The knives have been popped a few rounds ago, but at least they had that Viper's Pit. We talked about that quite often, and we haven't had a chance to see it on the defender side yet. So now that Rossi has it, we'll see what happens. Wardell trying to dash on top. JC Stanley gets spotted by the green, and he's forced to fall back. He's staying on there, actually. Huge.
That's a big first kill. Now, they do have res, so it does kind of negate the early damage. That's something they've been struggling at gaining. They've been having a hard time getting those early kills under Wardell. Wardell's been on the early round rampage usually, finding multiple openers. This will be a great nano swarm. That'll push the player out of position. Rossi takes a little bit of damage, down to 77 HP. Armor's been stripped down to 4 as well. Off that early play, TSM decides to change directions, going instead back towards the A site, where they'll have to contend with Shot Up, who's got quick support coming in from Gangsta. That's the pull ult. They'll try to bait them in with this ult. So they've got the turret set up as well, even though there is a smoke on top of it. Hayes is really just here to try to glue them into position, and he's done a pretty good job. The rest of the team's going to be heading over towards A. There's still one player here. It's Shot Up. Shot Up has to go huge from this position. First kill is going to be Shot Up's to take. Wants to go for the dismiss. It's a logical play. They don't have the wall now for the spike, so that is actually huge, and it's been cut down to now Cutler and Wardell in a 2-on-5 with 10 seconds left. That early kill, you're starting to see that and its effect on the game. They had to go back and res Wardell. It slows things down. The attempt towards B ends up shifting back towards A. And then when they lose the wall, everything falls apart.
Oh no, even the op is lost. But again, you've won enough rounds so far for the defenders. I mean, Wardell's still at 9K, or sorry, attackers. You still have 9K out of that one. And I like the fake for the ult that you saw from Hayes. And that could have been a crucial kill that he could have had there against Rossi. Again, that's what I'm talking about. If you have that little gap going on because you want to focus on a spray towards mid instead that you want to defend, well, that little gap could be taken advantage of for the defender side, and Rossi definitely did. And thankfully, though, after he won that fight versus Hayes, he didn't have enough poison left, right, in the fuel, because that wall could have been detrimental for the rest of TSM moving towards the A site, where they would have lost that round even faster, and TSM just missed a bit in terms of where Shot Up was playing at that generator side. This round, though, and it's going to be Rossi pushing all the way up. The Owl Drone missed him, so it's an easy execution. Now smokes have been lost, a perfect trade at least, and it's a 4-on-4 with JC Stunny low on HP. They're going to force to go back for a heal, and Sabrosa gets pinged out. So right after this heal, right after the commotion at the beginning of the round, we'll see the stalemate and back into a slow map control.
I'm curious how this fight over on Long is going to go. You've got JC Stanny still wanting to take that fight with Long, and there's one player there currently. Drone is lurking over on Long B. But it's gotten quiet. Things have slowed down after both teams suffer a casualty early in the round. Sabrosa sitting at the bottom of Tube, potentially about to take a fight with Gangsta, who's waiting at the top end of Tube. There's the shots coming through, and it's right on the money to the dome of Sabrosa.
30 seconds left.
Here comes Wardell with the op towards Long. There's the attempted getaway. It's a little uncomfortable and awkward as Drone was there, and there wasn't much that could be done. The ult coming through to try to cancel the spike plant, but
stuck it
bravely. Hayes sticks it, knowing he has limited time and limited options. It'll come down to a 2-on-3. Wardell does have the ult available. The res is going to come out. There's the bait from it, though, and it works out masterfully. Drone has to go big. Does have some shock darts to work with, but it will be another round on the board for IMT, and an op is down if they were to decide to grab it, and they do.
Will. Yeah.
That's big. JC Stanley also has the knives available. So does Wardell. Rossi with the Viper's Pit. So there are ults online here for both teams.
It would have been such a different round on that 2 versus 2 potentially if Wardell actually connected a headshot onto Chemicals through that Radiantite box at that B site. Because of that, the perfect bait and switch. If not, a res would have never happened. It would have been Wardell and Drone with utility on a pulse plant to try to win that one. But good on Chemicals to take the advantage of the op shot miss, forcing Wardell back, going for the res, and then playing the numbers advantage by having JC Stanley come back to life and getting that round. And here is going to get very deadly. Where I see a weakness right now from this Viper Pit is if we actually go for some map control on the top of green, but they're going to hear an updraft, they're going to hear a wall, and he's going to be able to call that for a Phoenix to rotate out. But while that doesn't happen, then everybody could focus their resources towards this mid and A site. And at the same time, because there's a Viper's Pit here, and he doesn't need to use technically a Poison Cloud on B, then he's going to have a full fuel range to put the wall up on A side and make things difficult for TSM on a take.
Yeah, they've also got the Sage Wall down in Tube to try to slow down play in mid and kitchen. It basically forces them to go A right now. And you can see they're stacking up in that direction. You do have JC Stanley here with the op. The question is, what will happen in the battle against Wardell? We've seen it so many times. Go Wardell's direction. That will be a deciding factor, is how long can JC Stanley stay alive with that op in position, and will we finally see the kill go his direction? No. He's taken down to 10 HP. He's so low on health, desperately looking for a heal, sitting at 10 HP. An awkward fight on site as Shotup just dismisses directly in front of a target, and now goes for the ult. This is a bold play. You love to see it, but Drone's already top Tube, and it's come down to now just 2. As it's now just Rossi. The round will end in... And we'll see who it's going to end up being, as we've got Immortals starting on the defensive side. Chemicals will be playing over towards the B site. We're going to see some play towards Showers early on. We've talked about this before. Nice shock dart right to the face of Sabrosa. He's down to 38 HP, and again, as the Sky doesn't have the ability to heal himself, so that one stings.
Yep. And how do you fight back? You don't have any flashes, no paranoia. It's a boom butt and a recon dart. So having a Silva playing towards the A side so far, if they want to play a 3-player stack towards A, they seem to know that this lurk is always going to happen. Yes, they heard a shock dart, but they didn't know there was 2 players. So TSM could still try to play with that around the further rounds. But a Trailblazer into Hookah, you're looking to see at the same time an Owl Drone towards the B side. It's about to explode here.
Oh, I love this. They're going to go ahead and pop themselves up with the wall, potentially over top of the smoke to try and deny things, but they can't quite get a line of sight to what they needed. So that ends up backfiring just a bit. But Chemicals is here hitting shot after shot. That's 2 kills for Chemicals, and that gives the team the advantage they needed. As Drone goes towards the backside of sight with the Frenzy, there's targets to the right and to the left, holding to the left currently. The Frenzy just gets out of control, and it allows Gangsta to get into a better position, and things are quickly going the direction of IMT. The Flash tries to go out, guiding light, but it's killed immediately, and Sabrosa's spamming away, looking for an opening. Nice shot, but not really going to matter as the rest of the team survives. 3 players up, and they're going to give the spike over to Gangsta as well. Another charge closer to getting that ult early in the game.
Yeah, a nice bait and switch there for Chemicals and for Rossi towards that B side. That wall that came up and they dropped Rossi first, that's why you had Chemicals playing that tight angle. I'm pretty sure they didn't see him. Look at that. They were both aiming at at Rossi, and Chemicals, once the wall broke, he was able to get 2 kills of his own. I like the idea of the drone. He was just behind the boxes, went through the Owl drone, so he was just trying to play the off angle towards the entrance of the site. Having a Frenzy at that close of a range could potentially, usually win the fight, but it doesn't pay off, and Gangsta capitalizes on that one. And just that early shock dart that we mentioned before here, Bach, that was pretty much a detriment that kind of foiled the plans of TSM trying to get into any type of execution, because Sabrosa was already so low on HP.
Wall comes out early on long. If they wanted to go for orb control, it's out of the question, as Gap is broken through that ice pretty quickly. And it looks like they're going to try and grab it on the other side instead. There are 3 players currently playing B-side defense. You've got Raze, Sage, and Cypher all here at Chemicals, Rossi, and Shotup. Shotup is inside Tube, or at least was, now has backed off and rotated out. They are in rotate play like setups right now. You've got all of TSM on long. They have the ability to make a portal play towards A if that's what they decide to do. With 50 seconds left, they've still got plenty of time to make that decision as well. The dart's going to come out and give away the position. There's the orb now finally being picked up. Slow orb coming out. Flash to go down potentially here from Sabrosa. It does look like they're going to commit, so this team is moving in fast, but look at this. They're just running all the way over towards Elbow. An interesting
30
decision.
seconds left.
That's put the spike inside Elbow, but what do they do with this one? They're going to have to fight in multiple directions. I'm
Spike
trying to
down
figure out
B.
what the eventual play was there. But maybe I'm just too boomer to understand. Alex, I'll leave that one to you. The idea of going through Elbow to the backside, I guess I kind of get it. But
well, so far at this point, when you see like an explosion happening towards the site, what usually does happen is that you have a player wanting to fall back towards Elbow, right? So
Right.
you're basically gambling at this point for TSM, say, okay, we're going to push towards Elbow. We have a numbers advantage just around the corner. If we actually do get a kill, that's a weapon upgrade. And then if they continue towards spawn site, they could also cut off rotations while you still had a lurker towards the octagon. So they could fall back with 30 seconds left and actually play it more slowly and then just play the pickoff game into the B site. But when they realized there was nobody there all the way towards spawn, that's where that question mark came out. They were lined up for a double swing from the spawn side, from the B site into the spawn side, and an easy sweep from Immortals.
Yeah, but the other side of it is, too, as I'm looking at the spike in that position, that's when it gets really interesting, to say the least. Wardell able to get a kill here on this site. Yet again, Sabrosa suffering a brunt of the damage over in Showers, down to 13 HP. Didn't even see anybody yet. And he's low on HP. Shop's around the corner. Shop's got a great shot with the Sheriff, but the bonus isn't working out so well for IMT here. Again, very low HP for Sabrosa. There's at least no potential there, but they're going to have to get past the rest of the team, and Sabrosa's really just there lining up flashes for support, but there's the shot right to the leg of Sabrosa. It's all it takes as the double swing comes through, and he somehow threads the needle. Rossi, last player alive for IMT, just looking to do some additional damage. Again, this was the bonus round for IMT.
Yeah, he could definitely make some damage right now because the oh no, I'm not after that, so he's forced to push out. But very well done there for Drone to make sure that he uses all of his kit and secures all the areas and takes the upper hand for TSM from map control and information control. So that recon dart forced out Rossi out of position. Decent, okay, 2 kills going on right now for their bonus round. They have a full gun round here. You still have somewhat of a slight bonus for TSM. Just for Sabrosa, what's going to be the buy? Are we dropping him a Sheriff? Are we dropping him a Spectre? But Wardell is not going to be the one that's going to drop it because he's got, basically he wants to bring the op back. And it's going to be Drone that's going to buy the full rifle here for Sabrosa. So let's see if this pays out. It's going to be a couple of utilities for Astra towards this B side control, a recon dart at the same time, but Sabrosa is already at the point.
Sabrosa has had a rough go of it in Showers thus far. This time backup is there, and Cutler is actually the one who suffers a brunt of the damage, so the heal can come through. Bringing Cutler back up to full HP. Trailblazer pop. The dog's going to go out, and oh, that puts that player in an awkward position. But still, Gangsta swings out and punishes Wardell. Now, the spike is on site, and it's still heavily in favor of TSM. 4-on-2.
Flank coming.
Yeah, but they've got their eyes peeled on it.
Yep.
They've got Short watched. Rossi's going to try to come through from Short, but you've got Drone watching it, and Hayes now puts the turret down, making it that much harder to come through from this position. Nice dink shot through the corner of the wall, but it doesn't do that much damage. Actually, it doesn't even fully rip his armor away, which is definitely going to be disappointing when the damage report comes out. Chemical's the last player standing, just eating flashes. Here comes another one in a minute. Yep. It actually flies into the wall, so it doesn't really do too much. Sabrosa will get the last kill on the round. Seeker's available, Hunter's Fury, and Bladestorm for the attacking side of TSM. Hunter's Fury and Neural Theft for IMT.
That's right. So much needed round there for TSM just to make sure that they cushion their economy, and good round meaning that they didn't lose that many players right on that previous round. Only losing one player. They had a shorter buy with the force up that they had to do on that previous round. That could have been a round where Immortals could come back into the game early and try to take the lead here on the defender side. But you see the buy coming out, despite the abilities that we had from Gangsta and from Neural Theft of Chemicals. We still have an Ares come out from Gangsta where he could actually control this up towards the orb side. So the Owl Drone's going to come out where he could, or maybe not, sorry. I thought he was going to go for the Owl Drone into Fountain where he could maybe ult at the same time. But they're just going to try to just battle out for control towards Long B to start.
Trailblazer again getting some information for TSM. Shot up. As good as his Sheriff has been from that distance, it's difficult. Cutler able to find the punish and a follow-up from Cutler as well. Great shower control thus far.
One enemy
The
remaining.
backup is in from Sabrosa. And the eco round not really panning out so well for IMT. The Sheriff's not producing much success. Minimal damage being dealt. Gangsta will at least spam away at one. That's Cutler going down, so some vengeance for his fallen comrades. Shock Dart might be right on the money, too. It is. Wow. That's
Hit a few
great
guys.
damage. Hit two of them, and I think it hit a third, too, but very minimal on the third target. Well done. But there's targets all around, and they're going to go for the heal as well, so it doesn't really make too much of a difference. The damage that's done to Sabrosa is the only one that can't be erased, but hold on. Gangsta's making this cost money.
All right, at least he might secure the round here with that Nanostorm coming down. He's, like you said, still trying to make things expensive. Those 2 kills is huge. He has that Hunter's Fury still that he doesn't want to use right now. And there you go. Finally, that ends the demise, but it looked pretty close at some point where if we're a little bit too confident right now for TSM and overextending too much, it could have definitely been punishing there. But it seems as though we did have the Owl Drone come out towards Long B. They were trying to get that control so they could eventually pinch into the teleporter, into showers at the same time. Some of the common things that you usually see with an eco or a save. If it's not going to be a pinch from short A into sands from hookah, then it's also going to be teleporter into showers at A main. Knowing that Sabrosa always plays towards that round, towards that spot at the beginning of the round, Sabrosa read it, saw it coming, got a 2K on that side. And TSM, they're still in a lead. They're still healthy in the economy. And now we have the full gun round here of the first half.
There's the Seeker's ult popped by Sabrosa to give away the position. Shot up who's top APC has to be careful. And now they're going to start moving their way in. Falling off, switching to the rocket, falling back up. Can't quite connect. Wardell was there with the op. In the meantime, there was a kill coming out as well on the Hunter's Fury. You've got JC standing in position. Oh, it's so awkward. He runs out of ammo. Wardell just jumping around to dodge the damage that was impending. The last remaining player is Chemicals. That was so uncomfortable to watch, but it is going to be another round for TSM.
It's like one of those battles where, like, in the kung fu movies or the cops and robbers, where they shoot and run out of bullets. They both look down into the guns, and it was like throwing the weapons away, and they're going to try to fist fight. And it was basically that sidearm for Sabrosa that came out a lot faster versus his opponent. So continuing here versus JC Stani, right? It seems to be that head-to-head, even though they're playing different agents into this map. They've been going at it against each other throughout this series. This round, though, you see an early camera to come out. They were trying to fight early, and even you forced out the Hunter's Fury on that previous round. TSM's looking pretty good here on this half buy versus Immortals. Look how fast it is towards the site.
Oh, the fast play is backfiring just a bit as Chemicals from Hookah gets a couple of quick kills on the Sheriff. And there's backup as well in Hookah. It's going to be their Sage. So Rossi able to help out with some heal. Nice flash coming out from Sabrosa to try and keep them at bay towards spawn. But he gets pulled in with the gravity well, and he's trying so hard with the Boombot and the Sheriff combined. And now the spike is down, and they're really not in a territory where they can do much about this. That's a rifle pickup as well for Shotup, who's now sitting backside in such a dangerous position. The camera gives away positions, everything going their way. A massive Thrifty round win for IMT.
So far, that gravity well to the Frost Orb to the Boombot, that's a huge combo right there for Immortals. It shows that they've been practicing that, and it also gives you a quick taste of what it may look like in patch 2.07 when you're actually going to be able to pull defenders or diffusers off the diffuse with the Astra Gravity Well. There's going to be a lot of combos going on with that. Definitely frustrating. I think that was Sabrosa that fell down right at that spot. So yeah, it was a great Thrifty there for Immortals. The money is still good here for TSM. But that's a lot of easily upgraded weapons for the defender side, where the economy is definitely skyrocketing. Stonks are up now for Immortals.
TSM definitely wants that one back. IMT, they just played it well. Inside Hookah, the fast play on long, and it just backfires. The gravity well, we haven't really seen it impact play too much today. That's one of the few times where it's really changed to play, and you mentioned it, just all that utility. It's like, what's he supposed to do? Like, how is he supposed to get away from that one at all? and the Boombot was just icing on the cake. He was already being spammed from multiple angles in that position. It would have been difficult for him to get away to begin with. Now, Hayes does have the ult. Curious to see if we'll get any utility out from the Sova to try and kill it, but it's unlikely, and in fact, it's just a bait play to begin with. They are going to be moving back towards A, but they've already got players in position, and now that they're spotting them out, they can call this one out for what it is. It was a fake, as we've seen from TSM in the past, and they're trying to gain access to the A site. Shotup is playing inside U-Haul. Player Showers has fallen back. Cosmic Divide coming out, and oh, that's good timing, I guess. Not sure for whom. Hayes going to throw that molly through. It gets killed, actually, by Shotup on the other side. There's a bot down as well, so that'll give away his position if he pushes onto the other side. The spike will go down, and it will be a 5-on-4, but with the Cosmic Divide up, it's going to make things a little bit more uncomfortable here for IMT.
Yeah, and there's no ultimates right now for the Pulse plan. They have to try to set things up. They're going to have to play close here towards the U-shaped hallway, and it works at least for Cutler for first blood on that 5 versus 4 retake attempt of Immortals.
Cutler waiting around the corner. There's the res coming out as well. Things are starting to turn in favor of the opposition. Wardell, first shot right on the money, has Tailwind and the ability to get away. If he can hit this next shot, no! He accidentally Tailwinds into the wall. He had the right idea and he almost lined him up. But it doesn't work out that way for TSM as IMT ties things up at 4 apiece. It's an awkward position to find yourself in as Wardell with that op, but he almost made it work.
Almost made it work for sure, and that dash, I mean, if it was left or right, it would have been difficult against Gangsta. He probably could have flicked it over too. A nice attempt. If only they were able to get maybe another kill from TSM's side. It would have been, of course, GG already with Wardell winning that one. So that retake was like instant going on there for Immortals, especially with the res, making sure that they take U-shaped hallway control, lamps control to allow Rossi to get the res. And we see now the value of getting that Sage moving on and Rossi playing her at the same time so that JC Stani could actually use or you could actually use the Astra abilities to try to hold back onto the site. He's got the Cosmic Divide into this round, but that Cosmic Divide for the attackers for TSM definitely gave them a sliver of hope.
Tripwire taken out by Trailblazer. Nice shot from Wardell onto Chemicals. And there's a follow-up. JC Stani just caught reloading, standing in the open, wasn't anticipating that play. Shotup's in the corner, and Wardell says, hey, I didn't win that last clutch. Watch what I can do instead. A 4K on the round as Wardell's looking for the ace. He had 1 bullet left, and he spams it through the smoke. Would have been impressive if he made it happen, but he's still got a chance here. The last remaining player is Gangsta up in heaven, and you know Wardell wants that last kill.
Oh, yeah. Even there, it's like, where's my teammates?
Unbelievable.
Where are my teammates right now for Gangsta? Even like any guided light to get that. There you go. It's an Aldrone, and then even on top of that, a guiding light on the other end. He's stuck in this corner now.
Well, at least he denies the ace, so Wardell won't get it today. That's a desk pound if I've seen one before. Still a solid round from Wardell. Nice shock darts coming out to try to push them back a little bit, do some additional chip damage. But TSM take the lead back 5-4.
Wow, that was impressive there for the entries coming in for Wardell in a round where it seems as though they're counting on Wardell to get the openers, right? Right next to him was only Hayes with a Sheriff. So another one of those rounds where, okay, the rest of them did hit rifles, but they still want to try to activate Wardell. And when he's working the way that he does, that definitely, those are the results that you see. This round, though, we're trying to see what's going to happen for the Immortals. They have a full rifle round because of the eco that they had like 2 rounds ago. A nice little bait as we have Shotup hiding in the Nebula. And in case they want to take advantage of it here on the short side, he could actually get the execution from up above. The thing is, though, you're looking at this mini-map for TSM. It's going to be very slow once again on a default for the rest of the map and really trying to activate Sabrosa on that shower side, this time with support from Cutler, where they were able to get a first blood a couple of rounds ago.
Shotup just chilling inside the smoke, has to be careful.
It's so close.
Is that smoke faded? I'm not sure if they saw him or if they were just spam shots, but definitely a bit sketchy there for Shotup, who's staying in this position. He does not want to move, finally decides it's no longer worth it.
I think that's even one of those moments where you study your opponents, right? You probably think that you have a shot out that plays on the top of those boxes, and you're just trying to see if you get a lucky shot. So that was close. He gets the kill, and we have an early Cosmic Divide actually on the defense. Interesting right now.
There's the Seekers coming out. There's the Cosmic Divide as well. But
Wow.
the Boombot gets a kill, as does Hunter's Fury. Everything is piling up in favor of IMT. The last remaining player is spotted out inside the Nebula. It's tied up yet again with a flawless round. Barely any damage even dealt to IMT as they look strong in that round against TSM. And now TSM, their money is split. They've got 3 players who can't buy 2 that can. They can go at least with the knives on Wardell. Wardell could even offer a weapon over to Sabrosa, but you know that Wardell wants to stack that cash as much as possible to get the op in a future round.
Yeah, and even then I was questioning what was going on there on that defense because I saw JC Stani going to Astro Form and he's popping out an early Cosmic Divide onto defense where it's like, okay, well, open door for TSM to move into the site and try to plant, especially on top of the Seekers to try to get information. But you saw there was a method behind the madness of using the information with the recons and going back here with the Boombot and the Hunter's Fury to prevent TSM from even getting a plant. So that was a huge round going in for them. They're tied up 5-5, and we have a buy coming in for TSM because Wardell does have the Blade Storm, and we want to see if Wardell could try to move in for the team and create that space. So looking at this mini map, another quick default, but when it comes into the execution, you definitely want your star player right now for Wardell to dash in and get those openers.
Slow and more methodical play coming out here in round number 11. 43 seconds left, and we really haven't seen too much early on. A little bit of damage dealt to Hazed and to Gangsta, but that's it. Been largely quiet. As they start filtering resources around, you do have Sage playing solo on B.
30 seconds left.
But it looks like it's going to be a play towards A. It's really going to come down to Wardell. No surprise there. Who's got the knives out? Will Wardell be able to open up the site like he did in the previous round with the op? Dashes into position. There's no one top corner. Looking for the players on site. Drone gets the first opener, but Chemicals still in position from this spot. There's the rocket right on the money. Wardell's ult's been canceled. 10 seconds left. They're trying to get out onto B, though. Hayes was able to lurk out, and in the meantime, they were able to get that spike over and across. They do give away the positions with the neural theft, and it all comes down now to Sabrosa, who's got nowhere to go other than this position. He's over towards Octagon. It's going to be difficult. He's got one flash left. The guiding light doesn't even go around the corner, actually blinds him more than his opposition. Takes out the pin-headed Chemicals, who had lost his hat, giving him that tiny skull. Typically so hard to shoot, but he aims for the body instead. Doesn't matter. Gangsta's there with the follow-up. IMT, they take the lead and make it 6-5 here, coming in at the tail end of the first half. One more round where they can try and get that 7-5. I mean, that's been pretty standard across the series that we've watched today.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a very good series for these two teams so far. But you could definitely pull the first map away of how one-sided that was after those 5 rounds that was one in a row from TSM. But definitely since that second map, moving into this third one, they're warmed up. The pressure is still there, but they're thriving off this pressure right now for both of these teams. This last round to go of the half, you don't have anything to work with. We're going with double Guardians, where it's still pretty scary to see Sabrosa and Drone with a Guardian. I don't think it's going to be that much of a round secured for Immortals going into this one as well. So let's see what happens with it. Another slow control towards the showers, towards the A side, but lots of utility to try to prevent it right now for the Immortals, right? You have trap bars, you have a camera, and you also have Astro Stars for a Nova Pulse and potentially a Gravity Well if they are going to try to go aggressively here towards this short A.
Wardell with the judge, trying to make space. The Seeker's coming out. Oh my god!
No.
It halos him! The shotgun just traces with the pattern. That's so disappointing. JC Stanny kind of gets a little bit lucky there as the damage just goes around him for the most part.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Cutler's picked off one. Rossi gets a trade back. Damage heavy in favor right now of IMT, and with that, they decide, let's get out of here. Drone's on a Guardian, has to be careful. It's down to just Hayes, who's over on the opposite side of the map, at least guaranteeing the spike, but only has a Sheriff.
All right, well, at least he activates a lockdown with that too. So he's trying to run that clock.
Looking for a better position. The drone, or the turret, excuse me, will give away the position. They'll just go ahead and take out the ult. That is now 3 maps, all with 7-5 half scores in favor of the team starting on the defense.
That was
It's been that way. It was that way on Ascent. in favor of Immortals. After a 5-0 start, Immortals turned it around 1-7-5. On Icebox, Immortals went off with 4 rounds before TSM rebounded with 4 of their own, losing 1 before closing out the half with 3 more. And then here on Bind, it was a bit more back and forth, but it does favor Immortals in the end, 7-5 on the defensive side.
Yeah, great utility usage for Immortals too on that defense side to slowly come back into the defender side to take the lead. And I gotta say, man, after those judge shots from Wardell against JC Stunny, I think JC Stunny still had like 19 armor, like 80 HP after like 7 buckshots being shot there from Wardell, and it looked like it was all on him, but it definitely just painted a silhouette around the wall where you're definitely like, it's one of those moments where in the movies you could just look back into your
Pulp Fiction.
Exactly, right? You just touch yourself, wear these shots, and you're like, all right, well, do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? That said, though, it is going to be a 7-5 pistol round coming in, and it's going to be the defender side, TSM, trying to hold things back.
And the divine intervention scene from Pulp Fiction. Classic. Hayes peeks from heaven, has to be careful. Almost dead, 17 HP left. Obviously can get a heal from Sky. Sky gets into a better position, but they're quickly moving into the site to try to get back on in this retake. You've got Gangsta currently in U. IMT has full control of the site, plus the Sage wall down. It's going to be difficult for them to do much of anything. They try to use the shock darts to gain space. Flying around the corner, though, the pistol work is spectacular. It's come down to now just Chemicals, who's in showers, and how quickly that one fell apart. It felt like that was promising there for IMT, but TSM says no. We're going to retake despite the fact that we've got players low and a player disadvantage.
Yeah, very simple take there towards U-shape, towards Lamps. It's like, okay, let's get into position first. We got the ones with the classic. We're going to bait those players first, have the frenzy move in for the trade after. And it's actually quite nice that both defenders on the post plant, speaking about the attackers of Immortals, got dropped instantly, which made it even harder for the third player to try to hold out towards that front of U-shape hull. So very well done for TSM on that teamwork and capability to get first blood without actually losing players in the process, without forcing any trades, puts them in a good position for this second round.
Placing swarm grenade.
Early play towards Showers to try to gain control. The drone moving up short, the turret spotting up the players. Immortals doesn't seem to be too scared of this one. They're just going to throw the wall down, and it can't be killed in time by the SMG. So yet another spike plant. And they've got good positioning as well. They're going to try and lock this one down. They've still got a player sitting outside of Showers, too. That's Chemicals, who's still lurking in that spot. So if they can get the timing right, maybe this one will work out. And he's trying to move into position. Maybe does get the backstab onto Cutler, catches him off guard. Rossi is still towards short, or towards you with Frenzy, but the rest of the team's fallen, and the round goes the way you would expect towards the end. Still 2 kills in a plant, not too shabby given that they didn't spend too much money coming into it.
Yeah, and that was an annoying round there for Hayes. I mean, we stuck on him the whole time. He got pegged by an owl drone. The recon dart came out, then pain shells. He wasn't in a position where he could deny the plant or break the wall early. And by the time he was shooting a couple of clips, well, the wall already fortified itself. And with the timing, JC Stani, I think, was the one that came out and got the kill onto Hayes with the off angle there with the Sheriff in the end. Although 2 rounds in a row, we've tied up the score line, we still have the bonus round that's going to ensue for TSM, the Marshal in the hands of Wardell, and a chance for them to get this bonus and even break the economy again for Immortals.
There's another gravity well. Trying to pull them into Showers. Gangsta's going to send out the drone. Gaining up some information in Showers. Another Astral Star going down. And a dart going out into Astra as well. They've got a lot set up currently over towards the A site, and it doesn't help them that there was utility used over on the other side. Sabrosa using that pup to spot out long. And knowing that there's no one sitting Fountain, that's what's allowing them to spend so much of their resources on this A site. Look how many players are over on A currently for TSM. They've only got 1 player passively playing B. Now, Wardell doesn't quite get the timing right there towards short. Peeks away at the worst possible time. He will hit 1 shot from backside sight. But the defense has crumbled and it's fallen onto Drone. It is just Drone left alive with the Phantom.
30 seconds left.
The rest of the team didn't really have the greatest hardware coming in as a bonus round. Oh, oh, nice shot, dink shot onto Chemicals. Counter dink coming out through the wall a bit. This shock dart's right on the money. So, oh, maybe not. I thought for sure that would have killed him, but it doesn't really hit where it needs to, and Drone's actually surprised himself. He's like, how did that not connect? The Chemicals survives in that position with 10 HP. It'll be insult to injury if he manages to find the kill here on the Drone.
And that's because he doesn't know where that second player is. So just because of that, running that clock down allows Immortals to get that last kill. If he knew where that second player was, it could have been a different story there. But well done for the last few players of Immortals. And I like that from that attacker side of Immortals too. It's like, okay, let's count the ability. We talked about using the ability and wasting up the ability of the Astro. That's going to be the important play to try to get map control on the attacker side to prevent the delays from happening where you have to run down the clock with 10 seconds left to try to attack. So by forcing the gravity well in the Nebula at the beginning of the round and a second Nebula into Showers, they know technically that Hayes will not be running more stars towards that Shower side because he has to focus his 2 other stars on defending the short A side from another gravity well and a Nebula on that side. So that opened it up easier for Immortals to get into the site. And with this round though, it's a half buy for TSM and then unfortunately cannot connect with these shares.
Stars going out across the site. You've got Wardell who's on an op, and you better believe Wardell is going nowhere near this one. Wardell's over on A. He decided long ago that the save was necessary. And the remaining players are actually backing off a little bit as well. Hayes, it looked like, was falling back towards spawn a little bit more, but just threw a turret down to add some additional support. And they'll just continue to wait for a peak to potentially come through. I don't anticipate that you'll see one. 5 players alive, and I'd venture that INT would like to do it that way.
Yeah, and even then, they don't want to push towards spawn. They don't want to have that economy being broken on their side, especially like you said here, Buck. If it's going to turn out into a flawless, then good enough for them. They could actually try to keep their weapons if they want. They could try to look for those exits if they want. But then for TSM, it's just going to be a little bit easier here just to lose your weapons, not getting exits. And on top of that, save that operator into this round, or the next round, sorry. So Immortal slowly walking away here with the lead, taking it by 2. Where you see that right now, nothing really needs to be purchased from Wardell neither. So they're pretty even on the economy thanks to that. Thanks because he's pretty much saved everything and not used any single cloudburst or whatnot on that last defender round. So with that though, he's posted up towards that B side to look towards Hookah. They're going to have a double initiator to try to get information early towards the towards the fountain side. And if it doesn't pay out, one of them is going to fall back and they could stack up here towards the A side.
Again, early battle is towards Showers. Even though damage isn't being dealt, a lot of utility being sent in that direction. Owl Drone, Recon Darts, Nano Swarms. Quite a bit. And there's also a Gravity Well trying to suck them in. Shot up goes flying out there with the ult and catches Cutler on the other side. Wardell with a miss. That's actually not characteristic of him across the last couple of maps. We've seen him so on point this series. And a res coming in from Rossi as well. Round's over. They're already pulling the trigger here and going for the save.
Yeah.
You can see Drone and his teammate backing off of this one. Really well played by IMT.
The idea was there. I mean, after getting the first one to bait out the Owl Drone for TSM, he was actually throwing, so that was Cutler pretty much. He throws out the Gravity Well towards that Shower side just to make sure that he could just immobilize potentially a 1-versus-1 from a swing from Hayes. But Hayes did not expect that. I think it was shot up that moved in so fast into the Showers and then lost that fight. And from that, the showstopper, it was still a trade that's good enough. And even then, TSM had the perfect stack. After going for the Recon Dart and the Owl Drone, oh, okay, well, not bad here for saving your weapons, or at least attempt to save your weapons. Only Sabrosa stays alive. Made it slightly expensive for Immortals there. But I was trying to say here, there you go. So Hayes probably did not expect Shot Up to be that close after the first Gravity Well got pulled out from Hayes. And right there, they had the perfect stack because of the information that they didn't get towards Fountain by not spotting anybody there. 4 players already were holding towards the A side, and Wardell unfortunately missed a shot on the off angle and got punished for it.
Wardell has been feeling it the last two maps, really. Map 1, you know, kind of a rough one, but the last two maps, it has been really solid for Wardell with the AWP. So that shot, it was one of the few times we've actually seen JC Stani win that duel. We've been talking about it. How well has Wardell been doing in that duel when they were playing both as Jets? Obviously playing different roles now, but when they were both AWPing, it seemed to be the fight going his direction. Verticality is the name of the game for ShotUp, but it also is the result of his death. You've got 3 players left standing here on the attacking side, and hold on, make it just 1. Gangsta's the only one left remaining, and despite having the ult available, didn't cancel the Killjoy ult with Hunter's Fury. Could have done so.
Yeah.
But it's now a 1v4, even though there's low HP for some of these players. Gangsta spots the first target, does have Shock Dart and Recon Dart, so goes for the Recon Dart to give away the position. Shock Dart coming out next. That'll do some chip damage if he actually connects. It goes a little bit too far. And he's starting to keep his head on the swivel because he knows he could be getting flanked, but just doesn't check back in time. Sabrosa pops off big time, and a round that had massive weight for TSM.
100%. Another one of those hero buys and hero plays, basically, for Sabrosa. Before it was Wardell, this time it is going to be Yassine that's going to be able to get it. And just off that, yeah, I do understand why potentially Gangsta didn't use his Hunter's Fury, because it was not a situation where they planned it yet for Immortals, and at the same time, they knew that it was potentially a save for TSM. Because you saw the sheriff that came out, shut up, got some information when he pushed in too, and it's like, okay, well, technically we could still be able to win this one. And I just like how TSM was like, screw it, we're just going to push off our own lockdown without having to force players back in stack sites. We're just going to fight back against them, and it came into the upper hand thanks to the heroic play from Sabrosa. So slowly coming back into this one, potentially where Immortals could be on an eagle very soon, but the money is still right for the attacker side here.
IMT. 2 rounds up over TSM currently. Minute left on the clock for round 19. No one currently playing in hookah. Most of their pressure is focused towards long. They do have a player on site. It's Wardell with the AWP. Playing top can, and just can't get the second shot off in time. There's the ult coming out as well. Hunter's Fury spotting out players left and right, doing great damage. Sabrosa takes shots from the side from the ult, and then from ShotUp as well. And you can see the call being made from Cutler and Hayes. They've realized the round is definitely lost.
Yeah.
The 5-on-2 full site control for IMT. 11 will go on the board.
I'm not sure what happened there for Sabrosa, because yes, he was getting shot down and hunted by the Hunter's Fury, but I don't know if he was like half blind. I don't know if he like half blinded himself just to try to get a pick there onto hookah, as you saw ShotUp dance out. And look at, there's barely any damage done right now, but because you've won this round going in, I'm pretty sure for Chemicals and ShotUp, you're going to upgrade into your armor, but they're going to take the lead by 3 now with an 11-8 scoreline. So keeping these 2 weapons is going to be detrimental right now, or crucial, sorry, for TSM, as they're closing it right now for Immortals. There's a couple of nanoswarms towards that front side and a peek towards that back. Only Hayes is able to stay alive, and here comes that push, and no weapons are going to be saved at all here for TSM, where Immortals getting 1 round closer at least to series point.
They've got money on the side of TSM.
Those 2 weapons would have been huge.
It's awkward, yeah, like you mentioned, because they have Drone who's low on cash. They could have much easier, it would have been much easier for them, to just hand him a weapon. And they do make an interesting decision. The AWP will be bought and sent to Wardell, who will in exchange gift over an SMG.
Correct, onto Hayes.
So, to Hayes. So Hayes will be an SMG armorless play right now.
There they are.
And the AWP will go into the hands of Wardell. So even though Hayes didn't survive, the kills that he got at the end gave him enough extra cash to make this round possible.
Yeah, and you see
that AWP. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, and you see the showers control of how they played for Immortals, right? When you have those flashes, what are they doing? They're using a recon dart. They're using cyber cages, even an early camera being thrown by Chemicals, just to try to push him back on top of utility for JC Stani. So now there's no information. There's a fake cosmic divide going on towards the attacker side, and Hayes is on his own towards B.
Look how much utility, though, is currently in that area. He's got so much delay potential. The double molly is down. He's going to play right on the other side of this one aggressively. Not bad damage dealt considering he had just an SMG, no armor. And now he needs help. Wardell's going to go through the smoke. It's a risky play, and it pays off as Wardell is able to at least get a kill to bring things back to an even 4-on-4. It won't stop the spike from being planted. Wardell's watching the top rope just to make sure that no one goes vertical on him. But won't be the case today. That's the wall coming down that makes him think someone could be up there.
Cosmic Divide from the defenders. So this gives him a chance to maybe push forward, but this wall is going to be like a thorn on the side here for Wardell.
That ult could be huge. And Shot actually gets on the other side of the wall.
No way.
They're playing this wall actually to their advantage. Look at how well this is working out for them. Everything that should have gone the direction of TSM has now gone the way of IMT. Wardell has to switch to the rifle and go through blind. Shot finds a 4th kill on the round. A massive ult. He peeks through the Cosmic Divide, fires the ult, and gets back on the other side. Incredible work from Shot here at the very end of what could be a big win for IMT. It's 12-8. They need one more round to close things out.
That was so huge there for Shot Up at the same time. Like, he was at a point where he could have died. He got dinked down to 6 HP. If Hayes actually got that kill, if he was the one that had like a Phantom or something like that, Shot Up would have never gone that ult. Shot Up would have never gone that double kill. And at the same time, it was still very well done for TSM for the retake. But the heroic play, playing through the Cosmic Divide was everything for Immortals. Now they have no money to work with for TSM. It's map point and serious point to knock TSM down to the lower brackets and just scrambling with whatever they got. A Vandal, a Sheriff, no armor for Wardell, so it's a glass cannon with the Vandal. And can they hold it down?
Oh, Cutler dies, getting spammed through the smoke. Drone trying to do what he can with the ult and could do significant damage here. Does at least pick up 1 kill. Wardell's still on site. The Seeker is going to come out to give away positions. This is certainly winnable. Wardell's popping off with the rifle. It may not be his trusty op, but he's brought it down to manageable numbers, and it's all on Shot Up. Shot Up will get the first kill. Doesn't actually turn back to the other one despite knowing that he's there because he saw the bird come out. He killed it. But keeping his head on a swivel, going back more towards default. 45 seconds left, has time to play with.
Insane. The only rifle that was in play for TSM allows for 2 kills, and Shut Up kill noises is coming back. Makes it a 1 versus 1. It's up to Hayes with the Bucky.
Oh, he might be playing right into this, though. Hayes is right around the corner with the shotgun. So he played right into that one, expecting that player to potentially be in U-Haul. Still, great work from Shot Up to even get it to that point. Almost back-to-back heroic performances from Shot Up. But TSM will survive for the time being. Plenty of money left on most of the players for IMT. JC Stani does have enough to buy, but Rossi's the one who's kind of the odd man out. And it looks like we do have a pause coming through.
Yeah.
As Rossi is not moving in spawn, so hopefully it's not a technical issue.
I'm assuming he's calling, because he's the IGL right now for the team, right? So JC Stani, he hasn't bought yet, so they want to know, okay, what can we do? Looking at TSM, you see that Wardell, he bought a weapon for Hayes so that because he has the Blade Storm, and somebody bought him the Judge instead. So with this, now it's okay, JC Stani, what are we doing? Are we going to go with a rifle for him? Is Rossi going to go for SMG? But most importantly, what site can we take? The only ult that they have right now is going to be a res. Are they going to try to fight for orb control where if they lose this one, they could get an ult into the next? Because they're going to be in a situation where potentially they might be on an eco for Immortals if they lose this round here. So you have to try to manage all of that right now. What's left in your arsenal? What's coming up in terms of the ultimates for the attackers for Immortals? Same thing for the defenders. Hayes is 2 away from his lockdown. It's not quite over yet, but it's still a very hard spot to be if you're a TSM player right now.
Still just waiting to figure out what's going to happen here. Man. Third map always delivers. 12-9. TSM is against the ropes, but absolutely not out of this one. You've got that ult for Wardell. You've got res for Rossi. But Shot Up being 2 kills away from his ult, it's not exactly insane to think that he could get both of them.
Exactly.
The way that Shot Up has been playing across the last couple of rounds. Look at the damage he's done this game. 25 and 15, 8,000 combat score. The closest player on his team has 4,800. I mean, that is absolutely insane. The difference between him and the closest player is almost the same as Rossi and Cutler. Like, that to me is just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, even then, when we talked about how Chemicals didn't have a good game, well, look at them now, right? 17 and 14,
Right.
being very good there as that Cypher for the team. The rest of it are pretty much doing their job right now, and on the end of TSM, you want the ones that are able to frag, put the frags in, and it's working out. Drone currently in the lead at 19 and 14. Sabrosa doing his job as a Sky. Wardell doing his job here as the operator, although he was able to get stopped for a little bit of these aggressive pushes of the Immortals side. And now it's in a situation where he cannot have an operator, so he's going to have to count on his knives. But his knives right-click, it's on and off. We hope right now as a TSM fan that it's going to be on the on switch so that it could actually maybe come back into this game. If not, it's over for TSM, and they move down to the lower brackets.
Looks like Rossi is back moving around, so we should be good to go. And he's second now. Yep. Timer has started yet again.
So
This is a massive round. They're going to lean heavily on Wardell and that shotgun to enter or the ult, depending on what he decides to do. I mean, last time or not enter, I should say, but hold.
Yeah.
Last time we saw Wardell try to use that shotgun, it didn't pan out so well. Aiming for the head, not the body. The shotgun started haloing. This is a massive round. Immortals wants to close out the series here. Recon Dart gives a couple of pings away, and that is a big early pickup. Now, don't forget, Rossi is nearby, and they do have res.
Yeah.
So they can bring Shot Up back, but that is huge. Great way to start off the round.
Not only that, but knowing that they're facing like a series lost point, they still push 3 players towards Sands. It shows that they're keeping cool, calm, and collected, and the pressure's not on them yet. Getting that kill is huge. Forcing out a res early is huge. But also, that puts Shot Up at 1 orb away from an ult because he died. So are they going to rotate back towards the shower side to get the orb? Potentially, because they have camera already on showers too. So you're killing noise, you're running a default, you're taking control of the map, and look at that. They're slowly forcing back towards this A side, baiting out the L drone on long B, and nobody's rotating from TSM.
He's actually not going to go towards showers after all. They'll just let Chemicals take that position. They're going to move up short. Cutler is currently U-Haul, has to go big. There's the first kill coming out from Wardell with the knives. Shot Up, at least getting a trade back. The rocket going to go out long distance as the ult did come online. Wardell is now down to 15 HP, but still left standing and still has the knives at his disposal. And he's got Sabrosa if he can get to him to get the heal. But this setup,
Gangsta.
It's all about the flanking player. It's all about Gangsta, like you're saying. Gangsta currently over towards showers. Wardell down to 1 knife. He just wants 1 knife to hit. But it looks like he's going to have to switch to the shotgun. Goes inside the smoke. It's actually a shock dart that takes care of Wardell. Sabrosa in position, down to 3 HP. Spike's been taken to halfway. They're trying to peek to prevent the defuse from coming through. But no, it will be the round for TSM. They barely hang on, hit double digits, and the game will continue on.
All right. I know that Lothar has been getting a bit of flack from what he was talking about with what you can do on Viper's kit, but Wardell dropping down, even though it was an accident, blocking that shock dart against Gangsta was huge right there to actually prevent and allow TSM to actually get map control onto the short side first and going for the 2 versus 1 versus Gangsta on the shower side. Went down to the wire. They get the round. Immortals is going to be on a half buy with the Sheriffs and the Shields, and you do have TSM in the lead now with the money on top of that too to eventually potentially make this a 12-11, where the ultimates are also coming out on the defender side and close to try to bring this to overtime.
Drone in position, not bothered at all by the push direction. As good as the eco round we saw from IMT was in that first half, this is nothing like it.
Nope.
You know, they definitely get decimated here.
And look,
12-11. It comes down to the wire, Alex.
Yep. And you saw it, right? Drone got 2 kills, died. What's now? Hunter's Fury because he died. So Broza picked up 2 kills, Seekers. Now they have an operator back in the hands of Wardell. They have a full gun round. They have a full gun round for Immortals too, but because he used a showstopper on that previous round that hurt Wardell to 15 HP or 2 rounds ago from shot up, you don't have that. You don't have that much an offensive ultimate right now for Immortals, so it looks potentially to be the pendulum swinging over to TSM to maybe really bring this into overtime. You're starting to believe.
Flash coming out from Sabroza. There's players already working their way up long. Nades coming out as well from sight. Oh, man. He actually catches Drone. Drone's lucky he killed that. If he hadn't killed that, it potentially could have done way more damage as Drone wouldn't have been prepared necessarily for that. Now, Drone does not get sucked into the gravity well, but the shock dart's right on the money. It's exactly what they needed. Boom, flashes from Sabroza. Actually end up hitting the wall. It's not looking so good right now for TSM. It's come down to Hayes and Wardell. 5 players remain as the B site is porous. And IMT takes advantage of those holes in the defense. And it's just falling apart here. The last remaining player, Wardell. What can you really do? Wardell's actually getting hit by pulses as the Hunter's Fury as well. They know where he's at. He's got the op in hand. Who other than Shot Up to get the final kill? 13-11 in favor of Immortals.